And it looks like the stream is set successfully.
Woo!
Hot diggity dog.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, we got people.
Hey.
All right.
Hello. And welcome.
Swine. Hey, hey.
I've got to get myself into the stream so I can see the chat.
I gotta do the full-on pop-out chat thing so I can have that up in my
Hey,
separate thing.
yes, I know
you
we're
can do
5
that.
minutes late, River. I apologize. We've had some technical difficulties, which is that Alex's Wi-Fi suddenly went out. So we've been trying to figure some stuff out here, but we're all set to go now, I think.
This.
Oh, Mr. Loophole's from Iowa this time, not Ohio. Good, we won't need to ban him. We have our first question already from Jurassic Swine to Dalton. Can you buy the lizard as a pet?
In your dreams, in the dream times.
In the dream
It's unfortunately extinct, so
extra dead.
it would be tricky.
Hey, Wildlife Wire, how's it going?
Good
Hello.
to see you.
Dom, sorry I couldn't answer your question about La Brea horses earlier today. That is absolutely a blind spot from me. Oh, we have another question from Dino Dom. How old is the dry hot lizard?
It is 150 million years old. Helioscopos is from the Morris Information, so it's from the late Jurassic.
Super cool. And a lot of congrats to Daltons as well.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I see Kyle Mail asking us on the Twitter photo, and the snow lizard seems like a close relative of leopards and fat tails. It isn't a particularly close relative of leopards and fat tails. It's equally related to all living geckos. Essentially, it's so far distant to all geckos, but in terms of approximating its general appearance, a eublepharid, which is the earliest branching group of geckos, are the ones that have eyelids. They're probably a decent approximation as to what this thing looks like, because they probably decently approximate the appearance of the ancestral gecko.
The gecko.
Yes.
Dalton, there's another question from Wanderer. Did it sell insurance?
Yes, but not quality insurance.
What kind of insurance?
Mostly renters and marine watercraft, but not home or auto.
And certainly not bundled together.
No bundles.
I mean, the late Jurassic was kind of a seller's market when it comes to insurance. So.
Yeah. Life insurance, yes, but no health insurance, Riley.
Oh, from Cretaceous Critter. Morrison, what state was it from?
Well, the acronym is poignant because it is in fact from Utah. It's from Dinosaur National Monument. Swamp Ape has asked, did geckos lose eyelid privileges once or multiple times? It depends. It depends on the phylogeny that you go with. So only one group of geckos has eyelids today, and that's the eublepharids, which are like leopard geckos, fat tails, cat geckos, stuff like that. They have eyelids. All the rest of geckos don't. The traditional view has been that they are the first branching group and that the rest of geckos lost eyelids once. A lot of molecular analyses have found that the pygopodoids, which is the large group of Australian and Australasian endemic geckotins, those have been found at the base, and then eublepharids coming off. And if that's the case, then they lost their eyelids independently of everything else. But the pretty much the latest and greatest squamate tree, which is the Burbrink 2020 genome analysis, if you're looking at molecular trees, that finds eublepharids back at the base. And because that's congruent with what pretty much everyone has thought for all time, and it's with one of the best genomic analyses, I trust that pretty well. And I think that they are They only lost their eyelids once. Other good questions.
Yeah, River Does a Thing also asked, is your dead lizard friends, specifically with no D, with Amelia's dead lizard?
Yeah, Amelia's shaking her head, and I suspect not, mostly because I don't think her lizard's friends with anyone.
No,
That's
but
what I was
also
gonna
they
say.
lived very long apart, so they could
Yes.
not have been friends if they wanted to.
This is very true.
Yeah.
It is. Is this the lizard that Saurophaganax is a master of eating? Maybe as a baby.
Also,
hey.
thank you, Cody Bishop.
Yes, thank you, Cody,
Thank you.
who asked if we've ever found a fossil that showed birth defects.
I think I remember you asking this question on a recent video, and I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole of, like, I did a little bit of research into this, and basically found that, like, there's been a couple placoderms that have possibly shown evidence of maybe some, but they aren't definitive enough to show if they are actual birth defects or if they are defects from growth after birth.
Right. So there are a couple of examples of some specimens I've seen that have certainly like unusual anatomy. I don't know if I would call it like a birth defect. You know what I mean? Like they seem to be missing structures that are otherwise present, but it's hard to say if that's a defect or just a difference. Right. I mean, that difference is usually like, does it cause some sort of pathology, right? Does it impact the animal's quality of life? With all the stuff I've found in my own work, nothing that would have done so. So I would say not in my own personal experience.
Yeah,
Isn't
Alex.
there that one? Sorry, go
Alex,
on.
Alex has put in the chat. There is the two-headed Charistideer,
That's what I was just
right.
about to say.
Right.
which
yes.
is a pretty clear and cut birth defect. But like, that's the only one I can think of. I've never personally found one.
Yeah,
That
I was gonna,
the like uber of the question.
I was gonna say that one because it reminds me of that two-headed calf poem that goes around on TikTok every once in a while. It literally always makes me cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kalani has asked how you can tell a birth defect from fucky fossilization. The answer is that that's hard sometimes. But in this case, it's usually there's a pretty obvious bone surface where a structure would be and it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty hard to attribute that to anything but the actual structure being absent. So, taphonomy is always a really hard thing to exclude conclusively from everything. But in this case, I don't think that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think too.
Yeah, go ahead, Dalton. Sorry.
That in nature, animals with birth defects are probably, unless it's like a pretty minor one, aren't going to live very long, sadly. So like, you're going to see it on a young animal much more likely than you would on like an adult. And if you do see it on something big, it would just be like, that's a weird hole that is like biological in nature and not from damage, which you can tell because things have like smooth edges versus ragged edges.
I mean, we can also give the very evolutionary biologist answer of all animals technically have birth defects that are inherited minorly, and that's how evolution works.
Right, which is why I said I think the definition of a birth defect is usually that it's pathological.
Yeah.
Right. Because, I mean, species don't have a uniform archetype that they must adhere to. Right. And this is actually something that was kind of debated in, like, Victorian England and gentlemanly circles when they were coming up with ideas of evolution. It was one of the major resistances was that there was a concept that associated with a divine conception of how life appeared, with every species being pre-made by a deity, that every species really had a very rigidly set archetype it was trying to achieve, and deviation from that was imperfection. And not that there's a pool of variation that a species will occupy just because every individual is different. Right.
And you really see how they got eugenics from that. Holy crap.
Right. No, I mean,
Yeah.
like you read the writings from a couple decades before and you say like, I know where you guys are going to go and I don't like it, but we had that. And I mean, it's something you learn if you do take like human medical anatomy is just how common human anatomical variations are. There's like one I learned about. I guess it's not a HIPAA violation if you're talking about yourself, right? Because
Can't violate hippos.
You can violate your own.
I'm violating my HIPAA. So a couple of years ago, I was having really bad abdominal pain. And we still don't know what was going on with it, but I was worried something was wrong. So I went and I got a CAT scan with contrast. So they looked in my insides and nothing was wrong. And the next day I was fine and we had no idea what was going on there. But when they did that CAT scan, they found that I have what's called a urachal cyst, which is a little fluid pocket in a tissue structure called the urachus that exists on the inside of your abdomen, kind of in line with your belly button going up, and going down rather. The urachus is an embryonic remnant, or it's a remnant of the embryonic tissues associated with the umbilical cord and the circulation derived from it. So when you have when that whole thing closes up as you develop, sometimes a little fluid gets stuck in there, and so there remains a little kind of just fluid-filled sac within the tissues of your peritoneum. So I learned that I had one, and I told some friends about it who were in the field, and they said, that's interesting, because if you were a cadaver that we dissected in the cadaver lab, that's the kind of thing where we would have called all the students over and been like, hey, look at this. There's a cool anatomical variation over here. So yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
They were briefly fantasizing about dissecting me, which is always nice.
I do that all the time, James.
That's just what that class does to people. Like when I was taking it, my friends and I going back to the museum would be sitting on the bus, and one of them leaned over to me once and said, "I have a bad thought." I said, "What's that?" And they went, "I've started to look at people in a way to where I'm assessing whether or not they would make a good cadaver."
That's a real bad thought. That's a very bad thought. Don't have those thoughts.
Well, we all kind of agreed that we all had been having those thoughts, because we're like, well, that one looks well defined. That would be easy to find X, Y, and Z. You're studying, basically.
So there have been a couple of comments asking for my thoughts on Tyrannosaurus macraensis, and I just want to say, I'm working on Tyrannosaur systematics and everything right now, and so I don't want to say too much about something that I might wind up addressing in my research. I haven't seen the specimen in particular yet, so I don't know what my feelings on the species are. I know that that's not really a satisfying answer, but
It's the science answer.
It's the science answer, right? It seems like a stronger case than other papers on the same idea of naming other species of Tyrannosaurus.
A very euphemistic of you, James.
Right. Other papers that I've published rebuttals to.
Rebuttals on?
But it is...
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Cody asked the right question.
Question.
Yeah, Toasty, James, do a not science answer. No, I cannot. Don't worry. When I see the specimen and I decide what I think about it, you guys will find out. But I think it seems like a much more compelling argument than we've seen before. It's definitely not crap. You know what I mean? It's a well argued paper.
Also, I have a proposal before we answer the RLM question that was just asked. Can we start the game?
Oh, we can. But first, I must talk about my favorite RLM content.
No!
Which is... my favorite RLM content is pretty much uniformly the opening to the... Why did we disconnect?
Did we lose Dalton?
We lost Dalton.
How did we lose Dalton? Oh my god, it came for another one.
We lost Dalton.
It's because they're saying Nanotyrannus in the chat. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Get that negative attitude out of here.
I see a comment from the Bagel. So, James, how's Gregory Paul feeling about your rebuttal? I don't think he liked it. Oh, this is all great.
This is wonderful.
Do you have the splash ready?
Can we get copyright struck if I sing it? Striked? I don't know.
What are the names? Oh, am I Dalton now?
We all got juggled.
I'm half me. I am half a man.
You're half me too, though. Don't worry.
I'm half you, James. Hi guys, how's it going? We at the Skeleton Crew. All right. Oh, Kyle Mail asked, "Hi Scott, I have a question about my local museum of Carnegie. Why did? I don't know. Sometimes they do that. No, when you put in your full question.
So anyway, Cody, my favorite RLM content is, the phrase that I doom is pretty much anything with Rich Evans screaming in it, but most of all the opening to their review of Rogue One, which is one of my favorite pieces of media in existence. It's the most wonderful sound of the universe is Rich Evans. Rich Evans screaming, shrieking with laughter. It's a wonderful, wonderful sound.
Actually, I think, James, I'll have to say that Kyle Mail's question that he directed at me might actually be better directed at you because you know these animals better than I do. He asked, why did the Carnegie get two big oviraptorosaurs? If you have any information on why they would have gotten these, that'd be rad. Because I haven't been there since I was 2.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I just need to address something very quickly.
Oh, Dalton's coming back.
Okay, good. We'll see how this goes. I don't know the story behind how they got the Anzu specimen, and I don't really know what the story is behind how they got the newly named one either.
I wouldn't be surprised if they got when they're asking about it. I imagine they mean on display.
Well, I mean, Anzu's holotype material, and I think several individuals are in the collections of the Carnegie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've worked on the material there. We got a man back.
Hello.
Hello. Wait, I think it rejigged. It swapped you and Alex. So I'm just going to briefly... There we go.
All right.
We're all back. Now, I mean, let's see if Tabletop Simulator can come back. I liked the cards I had, so I would...
I did too.
I did too.
I tried to save the state, so we're going to see what we can do.
Okay.
Load this one. I think it saved them. Yes.
Yes.
It did.
So
just join your same color. I did go out and search for Alex Kevin. No, somehow my Ethernet cable got pulled out of my computer.
Oh.
Was a cat involved, perhaps?
No. Gravity, I think. It's a bad cable, I'll freely admit. It's the little blinky planky bit that goes that clicks in and locks it in place is broken, so make of that what you will.
Chat, you've heard this story. Listen to this awful sob story and find it in your heart to help donate so Dalton can buy a new Ethernet cord.
Yes.
This man published a brand new lizard for you. The least you could do is help him.
He publishes for your sins.
There is Jurassic Swine has asked several times, and it's funny that you do ask about the idea of Helioscopos hanging out on sauropods and eating bugs off of them. It's very funny that you mentioned that because Joshua Canupa did art of it doing just that, and I fully support that idea. I think it's fun. It's a fun idea. I don't see anything against it. It has had some people ask. I'm sorry that catching up on the chat. I don't know who all has asked this, but about toe pads and climbing in geckos. What's interesting is for Helioscopos we only have the skull, so we don't know what its body looked like. It probably just looked like a plain lizard, more or less. The body proportions of some of the stem geckos from the Solnhofen have been argued to be congruent with arboreal climbing lizards. So it's very possible that this group that Helioscopos was a part of was adapted to climb. But they probably didn't have toe pads, or if they did have toe pads, they acquired them independently. Because eublepharids, which I was talking about earlier, the leopard geckos and kin, they're pals. They don't have toe pads, and so it seems like toe pads probably evolved once, maybe a couple times within geckos. It depends a little bit on how things are arranged. But Helioscopos probably didn't have toe pads, but that certainly doesn't mean it couldn't climb. But we don't know what its body looked like, so it's hard to say.
Right. Now, Riley Berry asked for me. My little cousin wanted to ask if you fed a T-Rex enough chicken nuggets, could you keep one as a pet?
Get a lot of chicken nuggets.
It would need a lot of chicken nuggets. I think probably not. It depends. We don't really know. Pet animals, companion animals, tend to be fairly intelligent predators, right? Like you don't frequently you don't keep like cattle or antelope
my dog's
as
a pretty dumb animal.
Well, right. I
Love
mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it depends a little bit on how socialized dinosaurs could be, which we don't know. But also, there's the fact that a T-Rex would weigh about 8 tons, be 40 feet long and 12 feet tall, and require a massive amount of chicken nuggets. And if it got upset, would destroy your entire neighborhood and need to be killed by the military. So,
Also,
probably not a good idea, unfortunately. Also, thank you, David Levering.
Yes, thank you very much.
holy
That
shit.
will
Thank you
help-
very much.
That will certainly help get a new cable.
Hey. And
oh
we
my
got-
god!
Oh, thank you. Wow, we
Thanks, Tanya.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya.
My goodness.
And thank you, Cody Bishop, again. Have you ever
thank you
found...
all.
Who asked, have you ever found mammal fossils from the Jurassic era?
Me personally, no, but people have, yes.
Yes. Now, I think we should, before we address more questions, I think we should probably start the game
Yes, we
that we're
probably
supposed
should.
to play.
Okay, remind me. I need to throw away one of the objective ones, right?
Yes. You
Okay.
pick one that you want to pursue.
Okay. And where do I put it? Just anywhere? Or
The
is
stream is gone if you didn't know, says Dino Dawn.
Oh, I
Oh.
turned tabletop off when I had to rejoin the server, so I just in case
they've been
there's any
enjoying
other info.
a black.
I am sorry, everybody. Can you see it again?
Well, Jade Dragon anoles are part of the very broad group of iguanians, so they're more closely related to things like iguanas and basilisk lizards than they are to geckos. And anoles have independently acquired toe pads that are similar to but different from those of geckos.
Yeah. I see, Dalton, while you set everything up finally, I guess, King Cosmoceratops has asked a few times, so I do want to address it. He asks, is it hard to become a paleontologist? I've heard you need to know several languages and a lot of math, both of which I'm horrible at. Several languages is absolutely not required.
No.
I would not be a paleontologist if you need to do that.
Guys, you should hear how long it took me to get through French.
Yeah, it was,
And I barely did.
yeah. You don't need to learn any of these languages to fluency. It's a cool thing to do. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to learn a language, but if it's something that you struggle with, that's not going to be a problem at all. In terms of math, it's not really about the practical doing of math the way you would in like a math class, as it is like your ability to think mathematically, like understand the way that a relationship might occur, right? Is it something that should be linear or exponential? Is this understand related rates and how things change? That is not a huge, like, I find that a lot easier than the act of doing the math. Everybody in the Skeleton Crew jokes that I'm the math one, but I'm
We
not.
don't say one.
Well, right, we don't say that, but I don't want to say it. But I don't like do the math all by hand. Like, I'm fairly good at statistical programming, but it's more that I think about the questions mathematically, and that's something that I found much easier to learn than like the mechanics of doing calculus, for instance. And by the way, you wouldn't really need to be doing calculus in your paleo career. Now, of course, doing anything that requires a lot of schooling is hard, but I don't think that any of those things are deal breakers. A lot of paleontologists are not math heads, and certainly most of us don't speak multiple languages.
God, I thought you said meth heads. I was like,
Sorry,
Math
I
heads.
said math heads.
no, that's just what I heard.
So on the note of starting to play the game,
Yes.
Scott and I have both rolled the die to see who goes first.
And we both got 11.
We did both get 11.
Well, I got 9, so that's not good.
Oh no.
All right, Amelia, see if you can go.
All right, Scott, we got to roll off.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
By all means, go first. It is your baby after.
14.
What is that?
All right.
14?
Yep.
All right.
Hey, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Gore X Shagaru. Thank you so much.
Gore Shigar. It's a
All right,
that's
I go
nothing?
first.
Oh no,
That's
that's a
two.
2. That's a monster from Monster Hunter. Shigaru Magala.
And someone asked if Helioscopos would be a good buddy for Nuggy Knight. Yeah, I think so. It's a little guy. I mean, it'd probably be like that big, so it'd be cute. It'd be a good pet. Yeah. All right, it's my turn first. We are, for those who are unaware, playing the game Holotype. It's a board game where you take the role of a paleontology lab, and it's great fun. It's a very fun board game. And I'm
Indeed.
going to send my field assistant to the field, and I'm going to draw a field expedition card and play it. I got the dinosaur park formation, so I roll 4 green dice, and I get to re-roll 1 of them, which is a strong start. So that's
Indeed. Dinosaur Park.
Yeah.
I'm going to re-roll 1 of these museum ones.
While Dalton goes,
Doesn't matter.
Azure Siren asked, do you guys think that some dinosaurs mimicked like parrots and corvids, and if so, which ones? Now, somebody, Jurassic Cannon King in the chat did answer probably not, which I do agree with. They, without a syrinx, which we don't have evidence of beyond birds, it would be very difficult for any dinosaur to achieve that. But it is a cool idea, and it's something I've often thought about, especially if some dinosaurs did convergently get their own kind of vocal organ. But there isn't really any evidence we can have to say anything about that right now.
Well, there is
Well,
a short that somebody on the crew did a little while ago.
yes,
about,
you know what I mean, Scott.
I do.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
What
I know.
I'm building
No,
off.
sorry. I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
building off of your answer here, and that somebody on our TikTok actually did ask, like, does this mean that they could ask the same question? And basically, like, I'll say, I'll give a little bit of a different answer to James in that, like, it is possible because we are able to mimic sounds without a syrinx. They just wouldn't do it in the way that birds do it.
Right. And I guess what I mean is like that kind of extremely high fidelity mimicking that
Probably
they can't
not.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, not like lyrebirds where they're literally like walking tape recorders.
Did I just lose a die?
Did it fall off the table?
It fell through the table, yeah.
They're
No, I'm sorry. I accidentally tried to roll these fossil
the little.
tokens.
Well, that won't help you out.
Yeah, thank God this game was not on my PhD qualifying exam.
Curious Talk asked a while ago how fluent in Latin is the average paleontologist. If the average paleontologist is James, incredibly fluent. If they're anybody else, then not.
All right. So that's 5 green dino cubes.
Nice. No, yeah, it's
And Amelia, the turn rat belongs to you.
people have varying degrees of knowledge of Latin, and I'll just say it's good that we live in an age with Google Translate, which also relates to the person who, I'm sorry, I forget your name, who asked about knowing a lot of languages, which is like, it's certainly, a nice thing to know multiple languages, not even from the science side, but just like from existing. But I struggle horribly with it, and I'm not good at learning languages. And sometimes you have to translate a paper, and that's where you can either ask someone to help you who knows the language, or you can use Google Translate and usually get a decent enough approximation to know what information is trying to be conveyed.
Very quickly, to get cubes, I go to the field.
To get colored cubes, yes.
Yes.
To get colored cubes, I go to the field. Okay, and then I draw cards.
So you brought your paleontologist there?
Yes.
So you draw 2 field expedition cards and discard one of them and then act on the other.
Okay.
Yep.
I also want it on the record that I personally got us $2 more because I know my Monster Hunter.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Gore Shigaru.
Thank you, Gore. Yes.
And thank you, Gore Shigaru.
So what does it mean? Sorry,
go ahead. Yeah.
I have to do this with board games.
No worries.
If it has a little swirly on it, it means that you can roll it twice.
Yes.
If you want. Okay. Okay, sure. So I will throw. There's the discard. I'm gonna throw away this one. And I will do this one, which is the Morrison formation.
Oh, hot dog.
Oh my God, you might.
Very
find
neat. I might find it.
Might find it.
Why does the stream have such a low amount of likes? I don't know.
Yeah,
people may
everybody
just be
fix it.
inclined.
Everybody,
like the stream.
you have this power.
People might just be inclined less to like a stream less than they do a video, would be my guess, because you're actively watching it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. What do these cubes mean? I rolled them.
With this cube state, you would get one blue fossil from the reserve and 2 from the museum.
the museum being here.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I'll take those because they are there. Okay, I'll just grab cubes. So whoever's next can take the rat.
Ahoy nerds. Dr. Dino asks, ahoy nerds. Been looking for fun video essays to listen to while I clean Chimaerosaurus bones. Any recommendations? And yes, I've seen every vid here. Watch them again. No, I've been really enjoying technology connections lately.
Oh, Technology Connections is a delight. I love his. He's one of the only YouTubers that I've watched that has actually made me like amend my daily life and my interactions with it. I switched to powdered detergent in my washing machine because of his video on how like laundry pods are bullshit. It's rad. I am also going to send my field assistant to the field.
You can't.
He can.
Yeah,
they can.
You can bump equal rank. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was above. Hey, Cody Bishop asked for $2. Will you be playing Prehistoric Kingdom? Perhaps.
We may or may not have had a business meeting where we talked about some ideas.
Yeah. All right, Kalani, enjoy Starfield. Thank you for joining.
Yes.
Yes, we will be playing Prehistoric Kingdom at some point, probably. And by probably, I mean almost certainly.
Okay. That isn't exactly what I wanted, but I will take it. So.
All right, now I have the turn rat. I'm going to send my paleontologist yonder to get some cubes.
I do also want to scroll up a little bit, and Kyle Mail. Also, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, because I'm pronouncing that male as in like M-A-L-E, but M-A-Y-L-E. So Mile? I don't know. Let me know. Asks, what's my opinion on Anjanath as a stylized theropod or Tyrannosaur? I gave a talk a while ago, back when I was still in New York, about prehistoric animal designs and dinosaur designs specifically in media, and I called out Anjanath for being one of my favorite stylized theropods. It's so deeply informed by the science, but also being a fun fantasy critter that can have extendable wings and shoot fire snot. So it's fun. It's one of my favorite monsters, actually. I love it so very deeply. Melee. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you to the 12 or 13 coconut crabs that ate Amelia Earhart for the $5.
That's a very funny user. Has anyone seen?
That's from Swamp Ape.
No, that was from Swamp Ape.
That's from Swamp Ape.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen the post that was like, everyone talks about how tragically she was probably eaten by coconut crabs, but no one talks about how, like, if that was the case, she had already died and they were just scavenging, and it was going off about how like coconut crabs aren't predators and they're like important animals and stuff. The conclusion was that this post was written by coconut crabs?
Yes.
Amelia, it's your turn, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I'm posting to our Instagram that we're live.
A good idea.
We didn't do that.
There was also the because that meme got a resurgence around the girl dinner trend, and so I saw a bunch of memes of Amelia Earhart and coconut crabs with the girl dinner audio.
Oh no.
So Kevin Preem has asked for the third time, and I feel like we should address it. Have we recovered from the great Jim 209 incident? Because I still haven't. It was the highlight of my comedy career. I have not personally recovered from seeing that image.
Do I get anything for recalling my guy?
No.
Yes, you do. You get a white cube.
Oh, you always?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then yes.
Recalling any number of them gets one white cube.
Well, when you recall, you always recall all that are available to be recalled.
Yes, but I'm not saying that, like, if you have 3 of them out and you recall, you don't get 3. You get 1. Mm-hmm. Unless you have the specialization to get more.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, Kevin, that was one of the best things I've ever seen. It sent me into belly laughter and hysterics, and I thank you very much. And if you want to know what the great Jim 209 incident was, subscribe to our Patreon, because we're certainly not going to talk about it. And we're not going to show you the image, but it was very funny.
I will say for River Does the Thing, yes, my lizard is a girl's girl. But we have a question for Scott from Dr. Dino. Top 5 favorite monsters.
Ooh, I'll put these in no specific order, but it would be, while I'm taking my turn here, it would be and I'll take my paleontologist over here, and then Oh, I realized why I did it bad last time. Never mind. Hey, can I do a Control Z on my last turn because I screwed it up?
What did you do?
Yeah.
I drew the wrong card. I drew a trace fossil instead of actually drawing the field expedition. I just grabbed the wrong one.
Oh, yes, you should redo that.
Yes,
Okay,
you
so
should.
I'm gonna take 2 turns here, I guess.
You're getting greedy.
Dino, I'll get to you in just a second. So I guess for my last turn, I'm going to the Kayenta formation, which is
Nice.
very appropriate because we have a lot of Kayenta formation critters here at the MCZ.
Why doesn't my dad let me have 2 turns?
My dad works for Nintendo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Did we? So Jade Dragon asks, "Did you guys watch Godzilla -1? And if Godzilla was in Dinosauria, what group would you assign it?" And then someone else has asked previously, and we never got around to it. What kind of animal we think Godzilla would be? First part, I did see Godzilla -1.
It was so good.
Loved it. Tremendous. An achievement in cinema. It's so good.
It
And then
was a
I'll-
wonderful movie.
And then I'll go to just a second.
Oh,
Sorry,
go
keep
ahead.
going.
Oh,
Talk over me.
I love Godzilla -1. I've been waiting a long time for a Godzilla movie that I would unironically recommend people watch. I say this especially after I dragged Amelia to go see Godzilla vs. Kong a few years ago in theaters, which was, listen, no shame on people who enjoy Godzilla vs. Kong, but it was not it for me.
I
That
like the
was
bit.
my first post-COVID movie, and we spent $30 to see it in the IMAX, so I was beyond furious.
But your seat did shake every time Godzilla
No, it
made
didn't.
that noise. No,
Not
that's
with-
true. They didn't do it.
No, because that's the whole reason I was like, fine, at least there's going to be fun monster sounds. And then they had the audio mixed in a way where it was not mixed to the monster sounds, it was mixed to the mediocre soundtrack. Because of
Right.
all the Godzilla movies, of the 3, that one has the worst soundtrack.
It does.
Um,
I remember showing that movie to my family, and they all sat in silence and watched it. And afterward, they were just like, "Really, James?"
Oh, that's a horrible reaction to give.
It was really funny.
I have a
They
very
took away my
fast
right
rules
to choose movies for the family for a couple months. Yeah, go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good because I have a fun family Godzilla versus Kong story as well. But if I fill up my storage, can I get rid of fossils I previously have there, or do I just stop accruing?
No, you
I
just stop accruing.
Rad.
Yep.
All right, turn rat is off to the next person,
All right.
and I will tell my fun
I recall.
Godzilla family story real quick, and then I will get to Doc Dino's question. But I showed my dad one very specific scene from Godzilla versus Kong because in the whole fighting on the ships bit, Godzilla sinks one of my dad's ships. That there's specifically a shot. I think it's the one that he tugs, pulls underwater by the anchor, and it has the shot of it of the superstructure coming up out of the water when he's getting near the surface. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's the hull number of the Paul F. Foster. My dad was on that ship. Oh no! And I showed it to my dad. He was like, oh shit! He was like, it's the wrong ship, but it's the right number. It was very funny. So. I will forever remember Godzilla vs. Kong as the movie where Godzilla killed my dad. And then I'll get to Doc Dino's question of, sorry, it's taken me a minute. Top 5 Monster
hold
Hunter
on.
monsters.
I just want to
yes.
interrupt. Amelia, it is your turn, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Top 5 Monster Hunter monsters. No particular order. It's Anjanath, Zinogre, that would be Seregios, then probably
Those are mine,
Oh,
Amelia.
God,
Oh, I see what you were doing. I'm sorry.
You're being removed. You're never mind.
Let's see. Probably after that it would be why am I blanking on its name? It's the we have a new super chat while I'm thinking.
Yes.
Two new super chats.
Oh my God, that speed.
Thank you, Logan.
Logan,
We appreciate it.
While
Greatly.
Scott talks, I'll address Logan's question. Oh. There's no question. It's just effusive praise of our videos. Thank you so much. This makes
Yes,
me very
thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Oh, that's a wonderful message. Alex absolutely can't control you. In fact, don't let Alex control you. Not only watch all of our videos, but comment on all of them multiple times.
The same comment.
Yes. And then it is what
Can
it is. Oh, sorry, Amelia.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Can I publish an animal after I've gone to the library? Or I need to
No.
go to the... Where do I need to go? I need to go to the purple one?
Yeah, the publishing journal.
Okay. Okay.
And then it is what it is asked, if you guys could have a species survive the KPG into the Eocene, what would it be? Mine would be Rahunavis or something similar. For me, if any dinosaurs made it, like, were to limp through and then go extinct in the early Cenozoic, I would bet it would be some kind of paravian, something very bird-like, but not a true bird. But so far as we know, none of them did make it. But I agree, it would be something in that kind of body size and body plan.
Well, I guess is the vein of the question, what do you think would have, like, if something kind of snuck through, or what would you want to survive?
Oh, that's
if
a
it's
good
what
question.
I want, I'd choose either a sauropod or like an abelisaur, because it'd be really great to have a non-feathered dinosaur. Because if like a dromaeosaur survived, we would just be like, oh yeah, here are the walking birds that are more dangerous. But if something else survived, we'd actually get some insight into the history of life on Earth.
Yeah. Well, if it were, if it were what I want, it would be a Tyrannosaur, because the mammals probably wouldn't have evolved the way they did, and I wouldn't have to pay taxes.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And I think I'll round out my top 5 there for a second with Fatalis and Odogaron for rounding out my top 5 monster under monsters. Took me a second to pare the list down, but yes.
We still haven't addressed what kind of animal we think Godzilla would be. But before we do, I'm publishing a holotype.
Oh my god!
It's my time to publish a holotype. I will be publishing.
Is it the one? Oh, nice,
beautiful artwork.
And so we increased the field advancement track 1. I published Penty, and James, it is your turn.
Thank you. I'm going to recall my paleontologist. And I'll get my little science token. And then it's Amelia's turn.
I mean, in the spirit, I tend to follow the spirit of the creators, which is that Godzilla is a theropod dinosaur, more so than like the anatomy, because it's, I don't know, like Godzilla. I love Godzilla, but trying to ascribe it to any real group is kind of a non-starter for me. I think, frankly, if I had to do, it'd be the weird mutant sea bacteria that Shin Godzilla is. That I think is the best, just a complete parallel evolution of life.
Yeah. Logan Rocks has donated $5 more. Thank you so much, Logan. Who asks, what are your favorite dinosaurs and marine reptiles and pterosaurs?
Oh my goodness.
My favorite dinosaur, if we're discounting ones that I've named, I do quite love Gorgosaurus.
what a flex!
Yeah, I know. I have to
Oh
say
no,
it.
just getting rid of the ones that I personally named.
Yeah, you know what? When you name dinosaurs, you get to do that, and it's fun. Gorgosaurus is one of my favorite dinosaurs. I just like the way it looks. In terms of marine reptiles, I really like Dolichorhynchops. And
Dolichorhynchops is fun.
in terms of pterosaurs, I'm basic, but I like Pteranodon a lot.
I'm going to send my paleontologist
to
the library. That's where I work out.
My favorite dinosaur is T-Rex. My favorite marine reptile is Tricky. I don't really like. I like a lot
that one.
of different. I like many for different reasons. I'm going to the field. I got the Cedar Mountain information, so I roll 3, get to reroll 2. Favorite marine reptile. Five. I don't know. That's so hard. I like a lot of marine reptiles. It might be like a It might be Mosasaurus, just because it's humongous. And you'll see a trend here, which is that my favorite dinosaur is T-Rex, my favorite marine reptile is Mosasaurus. And my favorite pterosaur is Quetzalcoatlus. I really like big animals. It is your turn.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
I also saw just from Kyle asking if if I could validate Sinotyrannus having a crest and not just being another Eutyrannus clone. I cannot validate this, but that's because we know very little of the anatomy of Sinotyrannus. We have the front of its snout, which does look very Eutyrannus-like, and we have parts of its vertebrae and pelvis. So we don't know. I mean, what we don't know, you can reconstruct how you want, I suppose, but I think it's very likely that it looked a lot like Eutyrannus, based on what we have. And I'm now going to take my turn. I'm going to bump Dalton.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Dalton.
What?
I'm going to name something very important to you. Your favorite dinosaur.
Hot dog, it's T-Rex.
I thought it was going to be Helioscopos.
No. So that'll cost me 4 greens and 4 whites.
While you're paying for that, Rex, I'll say my top
And it's
are favorite dinosaur, Utahraptor. Favorite marine reptile, Kronosaurus. Favorite pterosaur, probably got to be cats. I love cats.
Good answer.
Mr. Loophole is asking, will this be watchable after the stream is done? We anticipate it being so.
Also, I guess real
yes.
quick. Amelia, I will say, you don't need to put your white cubes in the fossil storage. The research is unlimited.
Oh.
Yeah, you can have as many of those as you want.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes.
And also, Amelia, what is your favorite dinosaur, marine reptile, and pterosaur?
I think I can guess the marine reptile.
I wonder why that is. Okay. I gotta make sure I got all the cubes out. Dinosaur, it's a tie. Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. I like Carnotaurus. I'll just say Carnotaurus. I was gonna say it's a tie between that and the animal that we have coming up next week, Nizoodoceratops, because I like it a lot. Marine reptile is Tylosaurus. That's a stupid question. Yorgi is close, but it's unfortunately not Tylosaurus. Pterosaur is probably Pteranodon. Either Pteranodon or Geosternbergia, because they're the Kansas creatures.
There is a real beauty to Geosternbergia.
Thank you, James. Curious Tank, for
thank you.
Now that is not $50,000 US.
No,
to address another question in chat, or else we would have wrapped up the stream right now.
Sorry, no. Oh, okay. Sorry, I put in the wrong thing as well. I put in IKR, not IDR, when I was looking up what that was. I thought that was I slanted Krona, and that would be like almost $400, and I'll be like,
It's a
Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you very much. Even if it's not a literally life-changing sum of money to receive in one fell swoop. Thank you so much. We really appreciate everything. Is it my turn? I'm sorry.
I believe so.
It is my turn. My field assistant returns
to
the field.
I don't know why I'm getting the question. What dinosaur is the biggest stoner?
Gotten many questions like that.
I don't know.
Oh, I got the Cooper Canyon formation.
Ooh. I have no idea. I mean, I guess all of them, because they're all pretty stone at this point.
Oh, Pachycephalosaurs were... I think it's Pachycephalosaurs.
Yeah, probably. Either that or, I mean, maybe Parasaurolophus. I mean, it's part of their anatomy.
Wait a minute. Isn't the Denver Museum of Nature and Sciences diorama with the Pachycephalosaurs? Doesn't it have a bunch of marijuana plants in it?
Well, it has plants that may be like cannabinaceans, or I forget the exact name, but related to that plant, there are, I believe,
of course, it's Colorado.
Is thought to have diverged in the Cretaceous, and because every single leaf in that diorama is modeled off of a real fossil leaf, it's very possible. But they didn't sneak in any real or model marijuana leaves, but there is, just because it's the Cretaceous and there might be some ancestral cannabis plants.
Hey, we got Brachiosaurus.
And thank you very much, Spino Dude. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Do the cubes just go back?
Yeah, the cubes just go back.
Brachiosaurus. Why is that an arm lizard?
The armiest lizard around.
We're all going to be publishing because I kicking you out, Amelia. And I am going to be publishing an armed lizard, but in a different regard. 5 white, 2 purple, 4. This guy was the monkey dactyl, right? Calistinivitis, the one that had like the Calestiventus. Was that the one that had like the climbing adaptations?
I don't believe so. But wait a minute. Why is Calestiventus more popular than T-Rex?
I think it's been drawn climbing, but I don't know if there's anything to support that. I think it might just be a skull.
Because he fly. T-Rex doesn't fly.
That's a good point.
Have you considered this?
I never had.
Holy moly, 10?
Yeah.
The Triassic stuff has got a lot of victory points.
The Triassic and the pterosaurs, because they require like very little fossil material and a lot of research.
You gotta work out at the library quite a bit to get any of these pterosaurs.
Which is ironic for me.
Cube.
All right.
Known from Justice Skull. Thanks, Dynamoterror.
I'm going to bump Scott out of the publishing house.
That makes sense.
He's publishing again. He can't be stopped.
Dre has asked, is this game made by the same company that made Secret Hitler? And it is not.
No.
This is made by
Daimonosaurus.
A company called Dinosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
The company's not Dinosaurus, but the company's called Brexworks Games, I believe.
Yes.
And it's an independent studio, and this is the one game that they have made so far, and it's great.
Is Studios?
And now there are 5 holotypes up, so we need to move Penty up.
Holy moly, yes. 5? All right.
Yeah. What happens when we get to 5 again, Dalton? What does that mean?
We refresh the museum. So we put 1 purple, 2 green.
Will this game get a physical copy? This game has a physical copy.
It does. Yeah.
So Logan Rex, thank you again for the $5. Follow up: what is the worst, least favorite dinosaurs or marine reptiles or pterosaurs?
Oh, that's
Paleontology is your hyperfixation. I think it's all of ours too.
It is. The worst dinosaur, I've always hated Volcanodon, and I think it's because I saw...
You have a personal vindication against Volcanodon.
I just remember, it was the first time I ever felt like I was like in paleontology, because I was volunteering in a lab as a college student, and we were just talking about bad dinosaurs, and I just said, like, listen, I don't remember what dinosaur we were talking about. I said, it's bad, but it's not as bad as Volcanodon, and it made the grad student in the lab who was teaching me a lot laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. And then he said, man, that's a real bargain bin dinosaur right there. So that will always be the one that I think is the worst. Yeah. Worst pterosaur? I don't know. I think they're all kind of demonic and horrible. But the fact that Quetzalcoatlus existed, I don't like. Worst marine reptile for me is like, I don't like pliosaurs in general. I feel like they look ugly and like they look like they're mosasaurs, but bargain version. Their heads are too big. They look like they were drawn by kids who were drawing a monster with a big head, to me. So I don't really love pliosaurs. Yeah.
While we think of others think of their least favorites, we also had a question from Dr. Dino who says, I'm working on a review of Walking with Dinosaurs. Any fun trivia I could use? Also, it's everyone's favorite episode. Is Walking with Monsters good? Anyone remember WWC, which I think is Walking with Cavemen? I remember not wanting to watch Walking with Cavemen because I don't care about human evolution. Walking with Monsters is good for the most part. My favorite episode of Walking with Dinosaurs is probably Cruel Seas, although the first one, which his name eludes me right now, also excellent. I will try to think of trivia. Dawn of the Dynasty? Something like that? But...
I think it's Dawn of a Dynasty.
Yeah.
I'll try to do the 2 for 1 here. Least favorite dinosaur? I think mine is Atlasaurus. It looks like a child's drawing of a sauropod that has been unwillingly granted life. Pterosaurs. I can't think of any off the top of my head that I actually actively dislike. I'll have to. Can I say the Jurassic World Dimorphodon?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, that one.
That's pretty bad.
And then for marine reptiles, I would say honestly maybe some of the
Amelia,
really early ichthyosaurs that just look wrong and weird and just I don't like those. They're screwy. And everybody's favorite Walking with Dinosaurs episode, I think mine would have to either be Giants of the Skies.
Also a banger.
It's so good. Or Time of Titans. One of those two. They're all good.
Yeah, as we've listed them all, man, that show's great. I love every episode.
The only one that I would say is at least personally is notably weaker than the rest would probably be the Death of a Dynasty.
Death of a Dynasty.
Mm-hmm. Which also is making me think that we probably got the title wrong for the first one.
It was new. It was isn't it New Blood?
New Blood. You're right.
I say I want to thank you, Dynamitera, for signaling that to me in chat. I did not remember that on my own. Thank you. Amelia, is that Hell Creek formation in your hand an old card?
No, I meant it's an old card. Yeah, now they're both old. So.
Is that a Hell Creek formation in your hand? You're happy to see me,
Scott. That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't matter.
That's good.
That's a good one. Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh God, what's the quote from that Will Ferrell movie? It doesn't have to make sense. It's erotic. Alrighty.
Wesley has asked $2. Thank you very much for the super chat. Comments on the dinosaur endothermy paper from 2022. Is this?
I believe that's Vyman et al. I think it's Yasmina's. Yeah,
it's Yasmina's, right? Yeah. I think it's interesting. I certainly don't know enough chemistry to really independently evaluate any of the results, but the results seem robust and pretty neat.
Yeah, I've worked with Yasmina with this technique before on some work that will hopefully see the light of day someday. And it's a really fascinating technique, and I think it's really powerful. And I think that I trust the results of that study. I mean, I think people have questions about the lower metabolic rate that is inferred for some ornithischians. And I think that deserves more looking into. But I think if it highlights something interesting about their physiology that we will have to figure out, I don't think it's something to discount because it seems weird.
Yeah. Alaska 21225. Thank you very much for the super chat.
Indeed.
It's a lot. My favorite individual fossil is definitely one of the ones I'm working on right now. Anyway, somebody else answer. Yes, cool.
I'll say two things real fast, and also I guess three things. One, David Levering, thank you for getting my joke. Two, Kevin Prey, keep that up and I'll ban you. Not for real. Comedy Lexia. And my personal favorite fossil is the Berlin specimen of Archaeopteryx. I've seen a lot of very pretty fossils. The Berlin specimen of Archaeopteryx is a work of art that you could just by itself hang up in an art museum and it would pass as that by itself. It's stunning. There's a reason why I have a framed one in my living room. A framed cast of it that I made myself and painted myself too.
Oh, nice.
Being a fossil preparator is cool.
All right, I'm digging in the Arundel clay.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That's a bad name for a. I don't like Arundel clay.
I always heard it pronounced Arundel, but
that's
that might be
so
better.
much better.
It does look like Arundel, which isn't that also the name of the land in Frozen?
That's Arundel, I believe. God,
Okay.
I don't know where that came from. I have not seen Frozen since 2012 when it came out.
Neither have
Or
I.
2013 or whatever it was.
Also, Dom, Wildlife Wire there. Yeah, you do know that because of your limited edition Scott Johnston trading card. Also, how'd you make my name red like that? Is that just calling me out in there? Because that was cool. But yeah, when Dom came to my Fossil Friday talk that I gave at Harvard last year, and we print out these little trading cards for all of the paleontologists who are doing things there, and one of the
Amelia,
questions
you're
is,
Sorry.
what's your favorite fossil? Which also, I found it kind of funny. Do you guys want to know what Stephanie's favorite fossil is? It's not what you would think.
I do want to know.
It's Dinosaur.
That's a cool fossil.
It's
It's a cool
one.
fossil.
Yeah. Oh, and to give an actual answer, obviously the fighting dinosaurs, Velociraptor and Protoceratops, just one of
Up
the most
there.
spectacular things ever found.
Yeah.
I mean, just the coolest thing ever.
Logan Rocks, thank you for the super chat. None of you goobers can convince me that the coolest fossil isn't the Borealopelta. That's an amazing
That's
fossil.
such
Love
a
that
good
fossil.
fossil. Oh my gosh.
What's my favorite fossil? Think about that pretty. That's a thinker. Mine's probably also yeah. Mine's also the Berlin Archaeopteryx because I mean that is the first fossil I have a tattoo of. So.
Ooh,
And
Kyle
Amelia,
Maley
you're
also asked, and I'll extend this to the rest of you guys as well, not just so it's not just directed at me. Is favorite Dinosaur Revolution design? If you guys remember that show,
You'll have to pull it up in Google. I remember
mine,
some of it.
Mine would probably either be the Allosaurus because I think it is one of the prettiest Allosaurus I've seen in media, or I think that they did one of the best T-Rexes outside of Walking with Dinosaurs, at least in terms of color. I know it's horrifically inaccurate, but man, that color scheme is iconic. And Jurassic Park, that design of the white skull pattern on the head is honestly inspired, and I think it's so cool. And I will also end that off by publishing.
Oh my God,
specimen.
he's publishing.
Oh, God. Man, I love all the designs in that show.
They're so good.
Yeah, they're really great. Mr. Loophole, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining for when you could.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
For
I love their
Alex in
Torvosaurus.
spirit, Soloris.
Hey! And that's our 6th holotype, which means we all get to choose one of the little achievement boards and put it on.
When do we get our
And
grad
activate.
student again? It's when we've named 3 things.
Once you've personally published 3 holotypes, you get your grad student.
I see. I can't wait to get mine. I'm going to do the recall +1.
Yeah, likewise.
Amelia, have you seen Dinosaur Revolution / Dinotasia?
I have. I have not seen any of the documentaries enough to tell them apart at all. So when I see the pictures, I've seen them before. I just could not put a name to the still.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good one. Although I mean it's a weird one for sure.
It's weird. It's really weird. The Werner Herzog version's the best.
Well, of course it is.
My favorite design from it might be the Eoraptor.
It's so good.
I love it.
I really, really love their Torvosaurus. And I like the designs for their Dromaeosaurs, but I think I remember reading this. There were 2 animation houses that were both working on the show. And some of the episodes are shockingly better animated than others. And I think that's literally because there were 2 companies that were working with the same kinds of models. And I think unfortunately a lot of the Dromaeosaurs got handled by the less good animation house. But they all look great.
I'm publishing a holotype.
Oh.
You can't be stopped.
And you're never going to believe what it is.
Oh my God. Helioscopos!
It's Helioscopos.
Life imitating art.
There we go.
Art imitating life.
You made it 8 points, huh, Dalton?
I did. But I also I had to figure out what I was going to set as the base for it, and I'll explain. I'm going to elaborate here. I used one of the pterosaurs because of the system in which the pterosaurs you need a lot of research but very little material for. We have very little of Helioscopos. We have a good chunk of the skull.
And it took a
lot
lot of work
research to describe. Also, the pterosaurs are small, and I just copied. There was like a perfect pterosaur to copy, so that's what I did.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm giving you crap. It's just really funny. It's like, my lizard is in the game. Also, it is the most valuable fossil in the entire game.
And look at how much work it took me to describe it. It was 6 research points.
I feel like.
Well, now the big question. I do have a big question about that's very topical for this. How does Helioscopos rank with Jormungandr?
Oh, in terms of the points?
In terms of points, is Helioscopos more points than Jormungandr? Gonna start some fights here.
It is, and I'm sorry, Amelia, that it is. It's 2 more. Because I used the Tylosaurus card to make Jormungandr, and I used a pterosaur to make this one, so it was
fair.
It was purely convenience.
Amelia, it's your turn.
Jurassic are less common than Tylosaurus in literally KU, so that's fair.
I'm sorry, Amelia, it's your turn, but I realized we missed a super chat question, and I just want to make sure we go back up to it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Roxana Gonzalez. It was their first super chat on a live stream. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I can't believe YouTube tells us that, but thank you so much for choosing us with your first super chat. And Roxana asked, were raptors smarter than border collies? The simple answer is probably not, but it's probably closer than you might think. Based on the fact that crocodilians with much proportionally smaller brains appear to kind of match average to lower than average, especially dogs in intelligence. So I would not be surprised if raptors could show like smart dog-like intelligence. But I've had border collies in a lot of my life. They were our family dogs when I was growing up, and they can be shockingly intelligent.
I was like, aren't they very smart?
One of our border collies literally understood English, like the dog just spoke English. At some point, my mom and my youngest sister were playing hide and seek, and my mom could not find my sister. And so my mom jokingly asked the dog where my sister was, and the dog like wagged its tail for a second and then just hunted down my sister in the house and found her. This is not trained behavior. Like, that dog understood English. I wasn't talking to dogs. My mom was.
Amelia has published Holotype.
I've published Hesperosaurus with some amber.
Hot dog.
Oh, wow.
I'm also going to say we had a German Shepherd that did a similar thing. I think it's that they just start to associate the names of the people in the house. And like, we ask them where things are. Like, I would play hide and seek with her with toys. Like, so I would go hide the ball and then say, okay, where is the ball? And she'd run around the house and find it. So then,
yeah,
I don't know. My parents would have her wake me up in the morning to go to school, either me or my brother. And she knew the difference between the names.
That's cute.
I have a little anecdote of, it might not be, I didn't get the turn. I guess it is my turn.
You cannot take the turn, Rad. It must be given to you. Distracted.
Don't disrespect the rat.
Sitting here and I was talking. You can't just abscond with the rodent.
Yes, ma'am. But I will say that while our last family dog, he was an Airedale Terrier, so not a... Also, there's poke in my beard. I just noticed. I looked on stream. Oh, God. Awful. I hate this. But not a border collie, but he did the most stereotypical raptor thing a while ago. This dog's name was Blue. He was great. And one time...
Wait, did Blue die?
Oh, Griff is my current dog.
Oh, I thought your current dog was
No.
I was like, Scott, you never told me this.
No. Griff's fine. Okay. Actually, Griff's doing better than fine. My mom sent me a picture today of, apparently he was very tuckered out from having 4 walks around our neighborhood today. So they served him his dinner on the couch, and he's just laying on the couch with his head in the bowl eating it. And he's a very, very awful abused dog. He's having such a bad time. I'm going to go to the field expedition. But while I'm telling... So Blue, our previous dog, he one time set a trap to get my dad's sandwich. I'm going to discard the Cloverleaf, and I'm going to play the Jaguar formation. So that's 2 research points. And 2 die. But so it was during the summer. I was awake watching TV, and my dad was getting ready to go to work, and was making himself a sandwich for lunch that day. And Griff walks up to him and like starts begging near the couch. No, sorry, near the like kitchen island where Dad's making his sandwich, and like whines a little bit and paws at him and stuff. And my dad looks down and he's like, "Blue, no," and Blue just kind of like walks away a little bit and like looks over at my dad. And I'm watching this interaction happen. Looks over at my dad, looks over at a potted plant, looks back at my dad, knocks the potted plant over with his nose, and my dad's just like, "Blue, you son of a bitch," and like goes over and starts like cleaning up the plant. Blue walks around the kitchen table, looks behind the kitchen table over at my dad, goes over to the kitchen island, hops up on the island, and eats an entire block of cheese while he's distracted. And I'm just like in awe of this. And then my dad freaks out and yells at the dog. And then he notices that I watched this entire thing silently. And he was like, "Why didn't you stop him?" I was like, "He planned that. I'm letting him have that."
I've planned something of my own.
Oh.
Which is I'm publishing a dinosaur.
Hot dog. What are you publishing? And then we have a super chat to address.
Yes,
thank you, Swamp Ape, and we will address yours. But
we actually we missed one too that we should
Logan
also
Rocks.
go back to. Yeah.
I have it pulled up.
I've named Triceratops. I got both T-Rex and
Wow.
Triceratops.
Look at you go.
Ole mole.
The big three dinosaurs of Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, and Daemonosaurus.
Hey, Daemonosaurus is apparently as popular as Triceratops. All right, Amelia, you get the turn rat, and I think I've just unleashed my grad student.
You have
indeed.
unleashed a great evil upon the world.
And
Yes, I have.
Logan Rocks has asked the question. Here's a good one. What's the most important fossil? Not specific to dinosaurs only. I mean, in general, I personally think it's Tiktaalik. That's a good answer. Tiktaalik's a very important fossil. It's the most important fossil.
I'd say that there's probably a strong argument to be made for Archaeopteryx.
That was going to be my answer.
Yeah.
Like, Archaeopteryx was discovered not very long after Darwin published his ideas on the theory of evolution and was such an incredible discovery.
He mentions it in some of his later editions.
Right. I mean, it's just like that one fossil alone is such a powerful proof that evolution happened. Had discoveries been made in a different order, like we'd probably have a different example of like the transitional form, the canonical proof of evolution. But because of when it was found, I think Archaeopteryx definitely deserves the title.
Yeah. I have to agree. I think it's Archaeopteryx. Adamolis says Lucy. Lucy's another good option.
Lucy's up there.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't say this to disagree, but just to reframe, kind of like for Lucy and Tiktaalik, to me, I think they're both very important fossils, but they're very important fossils for kind of confirming something that we already suspect, versus something that is like truly unexpected, which is going to be harder to find now that we have a better understanding of the tree of life and the history of life, which is I think why historically Archaeopteryx fits in for me, because at the time, like, no one would have ever suspected to find something like that. And Swamp Ape, super chat, thank you very much, $10. He said, "I love my Australian water dragons to death, but they can be dumb as bricks. However, despite that, they have extremely complex social structures. Intelligence manifests in different ways," and that is very true.
Dalton, you can use your quote again.
Don't make me tap the sign. Which is that lizards are capable of both extraordinary intelligence and astounding stupidity. And I'm sorry, Scott, did you just take a turn? And is this a fresh turn rat for me?
Yes, that is a fresh turn rat for you. I took a quick one. I just threw my
no, that's fine.
Field dude in the library.
James, I'm bumping you off to publish a new thing.
Oh my god.
Also, why am I a Suchomimus? What happened?
Hey,
I don't know what happened.
Dalton, thank you for convincing Logan Rocks to give additional $2.
Oh, thank you, Logan. I'm publishing Corythosaurus.
Oh. Well, that's fun.
Which means we are resetting the museum. And I have unlocked my graduate student. And James, it's your turn.
Yes, it is. I'm unsure of what I'm going to do.
Kyle Mail has asked, "Hey James, what are your thoughts on my leopard gecko being named Anzu for her moody habits?"
I think that sounds lovely. Definitely, one of the more unpleasant animals of all time.
Oh yeah.
Right, we're gonna go to the specimen lab with the grad student. They're walking through the prep lab on their way to their office, as I often did.
Yeah.
Miss those days.
Yeah, me too.
Kevin Prem has asked, "Would you guys ever do a Lethal Company vid?" Someone else, unless Kevin, you asked that prior, tells it. I love Lethal Company.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, we have.
Oh man, it'd be so much fun.
Yeah, it's tricky because like I don't know if it really fits our bent of like trying to communicate some science while we do the things we do. Also, not all of the crew has PCs that they play games on.
Communication itself is an issue in Lethal Company.
Dalton, to confirm, I draw 3 and discard 1, right?
If you choose that option,
that's
yes.
what I chose. Okay, so
yes.
I'm gonna discard.
And it does not have to be one of the ones that you drew to discard.
Oh, did I also accidentally flip over the top card of this deck?
You may have flipped over. Hang on.
The entire deck.
You flipped over the entire deck. That's okay. We'll just.
That's cool.
That's
cool of me to have done. All right, but I've discarded Brachiochenius.
Trust me, you guys would fit. You guys fit it. Thank you, Kevin. What about Pal World?
I have no understanding
qualms
of what that game is.
I have qualms about Pal World.
It's plagiarism. I mean, it looks fun.
Yeah.
I do kind of love that they're like kind of embracing every like edgy, weird thing that people ever said that they wanted in a Pokemon game. Of just like, hey, what if you could throw a Pokeball at just a person and just capture them as a person? It was like, you can do that. And it's like, what? It's like, you can do that.
I'm sorry, Amelia. The turn rat has been given to you. I'm sorry for preventing you from accessing it until now.
It's fine. I mean, as someone with a grad student, I'm assuming you're further in your career and you're preventing access to specimens I need to see. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
That's fire. That's fire.
Preventing access from specimens you need to see by withholding the turn rat.
Oh, man. What do I got going on here?
Who'd win a slap fight, Dinosaurs or Therizinosaurus? I think Therizinosaurus has a natural advantage at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Logan Rocks, thank you for the $5. Best
Thank
way
you
to
so
start
much.
Becoming a paleontologist. I have no idea what I'm doing and don't know how to be an adult. Well,
none of us do.
None of us know how to do that. Yeah. It depends. Little more info. You definitely don't super chat us again just to give us the more info that we're asking for. That would be such a predatory business model. It would be like we'd be game developers. What stage are you
asking
at right
grease in the palms? I was like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No. What career stage are you at right now? Like, or are you in high school, college, younger, older? It affects what my advice to you would be.
It doesn't affect the advice that I would give from the get-go, which is see if there's a place nearby you could volunteer at to get hands-on experience. This can be
from the get-go.
And this can be, it doesn't have to be paleo experience necessarily, but any kind of natural history museum type experience or natural history in general, if there's a zoo or a science museum or anything like that, just like getting your hands dirty in a sense and actually like doing things is a good way to just kind of start figuring out what you want to do and what you don't want to do, because both of those things are as important as the other. But also it's a way to just start kind of building up your resume and getting a better feel for the field and if it's something that you want to get into.
Yeah. And so Logan said he's out of, I don't mean to assume pronouns, I'm sorry, but Logan said you're out of high school, you're working in a doggy daycare in upstate New York. So in that case, Amelia's advice is definitely what I would do. I know there are some local museums in upstate New York. Upstate New York is a big place. So
upstate New York is everything but New York City and Long Island.
Well, according to me as a Long Islander, but yeah, it's a big place. If there are places you can volunteer, that is absolutely a good thing to do. If you are thinking of going to college, like if you want to get into the fossil prep arena, a college degree is certainly not required, right? Scott, you could speak to that much more, but a lot of...
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's mostly
it's
your skills.
Not required. It's definitely desired. Like, like I know that it at the very minimum, it's something that like is a checkbox for a lot of people. Because a lot of universities, when they're hiring for a position like a fossil preparator, they want you to at least have a bachelor's. That isn't to say that you absolutely positively need one, but experience is king in that area, and I would say that a degree is fantastic experience, even if it isn't hands-on.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second.
You good?
Yep, just responding to something.
Is this my turn, Rat?
It is your turn, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Oh, okay. This is not a new turn, Rat.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Amelia, while you go, Wesley, thank you very much for the super chat. We meant to make a post about this just to pin it to the chat, but I'm not going to really be talking very much about Tyrannosaur research or any recent happenings in it right now, just because that's something I'm actively working on. And I don't want to, run the risk of inadvertently scooping anything I would eventually publish, and B, I don't really want to comment on things that are like active debates in the field until there's something settled. So I really appreciate the super chat, but I just can't say anything right now. It's also, I want to apologize. There's a couple of people in chat who've been asking about some Tyrannosaur taxonomy stuff, and it's why I haven't been able to say anything about it. I do apologize, but this is just what we got to do right now. Hope you guys understand.
This is the unfortunate double-edged sword of us being professional paleontologists who are actually working in this, is that, like, you get all the cool, fun insider info of us knowing things about the field, but that also comes with, we might know too much, in an eldritch sense.
Yeah.
And you'll be driven blind with madness upon hearing it. But really, watch this space, because
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
cool stuff.
And it is something, like, I would like to, once, like, papers come out, I would really like to start making new kinds of content about our active research things. It's not something we've really had time to do recently, but it's something we've discussed. So be patient. You'll know all of my thoughts soon.
Yeah. And Wesley, please feel free to come up with another like big in-depth question that you'd like to ask us.
Yes.
I'm very
please.
sorry that you've super chatted and it's not something that we're able to answer, unfortunately. But
yeah.
Okay.
Also,
I need a reminder of what I can do in the museum space.
Depends on who you sent your field assistant.
Yes.
Okay, so you can pick one of two things to do. You can either exchange your colored cubes for different colored cubes at the ratio of the triangle on top. So you can like do 2 blues for 1 purple or 2 blues for 3 green. Or you can exchange your colored cubes for white research cubes from the supply at the rate underneath the triangle.
Okay. That's what I wanted to make sure that's what that little triangle
Yep.
meant. So I'm going to do, it's 2 blues for 3 greens.
Correct, yeah. They go into the museum, though. Sorry, not.
Oh, okay. Well,
they go into the museum, and the green comes from the museum.
Yes. Okay.
I want to just address some of the stuff in the chat asking about getting into the field a little bit. If you are going to be in a museum, if you're trying to break into paleo, you do want to try to find some volunteer opportunity or work opportunity at a museum with paleontology collections and technicians and curators. Being in a different kind of museum setting might involve very different skill sets, so you do want that to be, you want to be at a museum with paleontologists, both to learn the skills associated with our field and to be able to make contact with paleontologists. If you are not near any museums, which River does the thing mentioned, never fear. There are a lot of opportunities that you can apply for. You may have to go somewhere for a period of time to do them, but they're a great way to try to break into the field. They're like field programs and summer volunteerships and all sorts of things like that. They're posted all over online, but we also do, and Amelia's really been the one keeping a record of this, we post new opportunities that we find posted in our Discord server, which you can
just posted one today.
Yep. And if you're... Two today.
Yep.
If you're a Skeleton Crew patron, you can see those there, but all of these are publicly available. We're not gatekeeping.
We're not
access.
gatekeeping.
Right. No,
yeah.
You can find them online. Pay attention to social media feeds of paleontologists and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Here at the
and that's-
skeleton. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was just gonna say, basically, I pull them from Twitter because, like, I follow enough people that they put out job announcements, and when I see them, I put them there. Basically,
Yeah.
Here at the Skeleton Crew, we might gaslight and girl boss, but we do not gatekeep. Also, Amelia, speaking of gatekeeping, are you done gatekeeping the turn rat?
maybe I'm not.
Okay. Gonna keep girl bossing with it? There we go.
I might, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do want to say I want to push back against James's comment about the museum has to have paleo. I personally disagree, only because my own background is such that the AMNH is the first place that I like really worked. Or not, I guess not the AMNH, technically Carthage is, but my first experiences, and I think the reason that I've been able to do paleo in the way that I have is because I had other experiences that had transferable skills. So, like in high school, I volunteered at my at the county zoo summer camp thing. So that was, teaching kids about animals and also helping to wrangle them and that kind of thing. In college, I was a volunteer at a science museum in the aquarium. So I was like feeding fish, cleaning tanks, giving turtles a bath, like goofy things like that. And it wasn't until like later on at Carthage that I had the opportunity to volunteer at the prep lab in the Dino Museum. But yeah, I think the point is though, because not everyone is near a museum that has paleo, so your options might be limited, and in that case, anything is better than nothing. The catch is you just have to be mindful about how you're going to, like, what skills are you actually learning, and how do those skills apply to paleo eventually, if you're able to find yourself in a situation where you can either move to a place that has better paleo opportunities or do something remote.
Yeah. Now, we did get a super chat we've gotten a couple that we should catch up on.
Can I really quickly say I published a holotype?
Oh,
yes.
You should say that, in fact.
Cacabupteryx.
Ooh, somebody's liking those pterosaurs, huh?
I am indeed liking some pterosaurs.
So our first one that we missed
Adamolos.
From Adamolos, yeah. No, it actually came from Dr. Dino above.
Oh, Doc Dino.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes. So Doc Dino says they got into an argument with somebody recently. How do we know that birds are dinosaurs specifically and not their own group of archosaurs within Ava metatarsalia? Well, I mean, the short answer is they have a bunch of synapomorphies of successively inclusive or successively nested dinosaur groups. So, they have a perforated acetabulum. They have a three-toed didactyl foot. They've got the reduced digital count. They've got postcranial pneumaticity. They have brain case features that are similar to other Maniraptorans, particularly a pattern of pneumatic recesses around the brain and the expansion of the forebrain. They have feathers, which are something they have like flight feathers, which are something we only see evidence of within non-avian theropods as well. So the short answer is, that's what the phylogenetic analyses say they are. And you can see a pretty iterative acquisition of an avian-like skeleton as you look through theropod evolution. So it would be a remarkably unusual thing for all of that to happen in parallel with no fossil record that allows us to discover that as the true topology. So that's how we know in the short answer. I'm going to take my turn, and I'll let somebody else respond to Adamolos really quick. Thank you again for the super chat. This appears to be Adamolos' first super chat on live stream, so thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Adamolos asks, I'm applying for internships right now. Amelia's given excellent advice. Just wondering if any of the lesser crewmates have advice for this process. Well, first of all, congratulations on picking up the rankings. That was correct. Anyone else have any advice for internships? I would say as you apply, leverage just whatever experience you can. It may seem like what you've done isn't necessarily relevant, but it's shocking how many skills are transferable, and it's shocking how important soft skills are for science, in addition to having relevant experience with, if you have experience doing field work or lab work or anything like that, that's going to help you along in the process. But showing that you have experience working with people, dealing with people, especially if your role is going to be interfacing with any kind of museum guests or any when I worked in the national parks, it wasn't common, but it was occasional that you would interact with visitors to the park and have to tell them what's going on, what are you doing, explain things to them. All of these things are important to the field, and depending on what position you're going for, are things that can set you apart. So like just and then also just don't be afraid to apply, even if you think like maybe you won't be a good fit. Like always remember that when you're applying, the worst that they can say is no.
I can say much worse things.
The way I've phrased that advice to people is don't close doors before they open.
Yeah.
Like don't lock them. You might as well try it, as long as it's not an issue of some places have like for grad schools anyway, some places have application fees, and in that case obviously like you do need to be mindful of which ones you're applying to depending on your own situation. But typically internships and such do not. Alex is here. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Alex.
Hello, Alex.
You have internet again.
Hey, bud.
Hello.
How you
I'm
doing?
back. I'm T-posing. How's everyone?
Doing well.
Good.
We're
Who's winning the
answering
game?
some fun questions. That is a good question. Who is winning?
I think raw points Scott is probably winning.
Raw points right now, I think I am.
Which answers Draco Master's question, who asked mildly late to the stream. Adobe Illustrator had me in a headlock for a solid amount of time. How's the holotype going? It's going well, and we're having a lot of fun. And I've published the Helioscopos holotype.
Indeed.
And Amelia, sorry, you were still going.
No, I was done with that, but I did want to go back to, we had a different one before that from Alaska 21225.
Yes.
Any ideas for a film major who just graduated that's interested in paleo nature in general? I live in Kansas, so there's not much here. That's not true. There's so much in Kansas, at least fossil-wise. I mean, granted, I don't live there, but like that's where all the seaway critters are, and there are a couple kick-ass museums that I would think have opportunities. If Dave Levering's still in the chat, he works at the Sternberg Museum. He would know better than me what kind of opportunities they have there. But I'm sure there are prep and or educational type positions that might be available there. If you're near Lawrence, KU might have something there, although that might be different because they might restrict it to students. I don't know. And out in the middle of nowhere, there is the Fick Fossil and History Museum in Oakley, Kansas.
Fick?
I don't know what they have, to be clear.
I heard the Thick Fossil Museum.
I also heard the Thick Fossil Museum.
I'm like, that's random.
Anyway, so it depends. It does depend on where you live. I am aware that there is mostly nothing in Kansas because I've driven basically across the state to get to the museums there. But those museums and universities are kind of your starting point. If you wanted to try doing more natural history type things.
Oh, goodness, I'm supposed to discard 2 on my last turn.
Oh, someone has asked me a question for $5. Hi, Alex. You can't tell me what to do. Also, what's your favorite dinosaur? Everyone else has answered already. Okay.
Well, we'll hold you to the same standard that Logan Rocks asked all of us, which was favorite dinosaur, favorite pterosaur, and marine reptile. You got to do all 3.
Hey, okay. Okay. Favorite dinosaur, favorite marine reptile, and favorite pterosaur. God, that's tricky. My favorite pterosaur may be Darwinopterus. It's like the best of many worlds. But if I'm being honest, I think it's probably just Quetzalcoatlus because it's a big monster.
Horrifying.
So those are my two, my thoughtful answer and my big monster answer. As far as marine reptiles go, there's so many good ones. What would my favorite marine reptile be? I like Ascleptosaurs and some of the weird Triassic thalattosaurs. I think they're pretty fun. But also some of the big pliosaurs are very cool. And for dinosaurs, well, dinosaurs is hard. I mean, my gut instinct is probably Velociraptor because it's the one I spent the most time with and think is neat. And I'm working on quite a bit. Yeah, sorry, don't.
Oh, I was just going to say, Amelia has just published a holotype, so congratulations.
Yes, Brontosaurus.
But also, I'm a huge fan of...
and we've unlocked our things.
Are there rules here? Are there rules like I can't choose something that Path of Titans would decide to make a model about, even though it's 2 bones, and everyone's like, that's so cool.
No rules.
It's 3 bones. I saw that they made an Akilbator model, which Neat. I'm sure
Oh,
glad
I
they
actually
think
didn't
they know
see
what
that.
it is. I think Limosaurus is also top tier dinosaur. It's very neat, and I like it a lot.
Now, there were a few super chats we missed, and I just want to make sure we don't,
Yeah, we're
the good
getting
people who give us
behind, which is
money.
great,
Right.
honestly.
Yes. So, Draco Master asked, okay, we're back to Riley Berry. How do you know what group certain dinosaurs belong to and it's not just convergent evolution? Like, say something may look like a stegosaur, but it might be related to sauropods or something. That's an excellent question. The answer to that is systematics. When you look at a fossil, I think this is something that is often one of the hardest things for people to learn as they're entering the field. It was certainly hard for me. A lot of the time, things look superficially similar, but don't look similar in the details, right? If you look at, like, say you're looking at a Tasmanian tiger, right, a thylacine and a wolf, their skulls superficially look very similar. If you are actually looking at good phylogenetic characters like suture positions and morphology, presence of foramina, dentition, dental counts, all this sort of stuff, you can see that they're wildly different. It's a matter of training your eye to kind of look for those things. And when you study these bones and actually score them in a systematic matrix, while convergent evolution is always theoretically possible, it's frequently a very not preferred hypothesis that every character state change is occurring in parallel on a different branch, right? It is possible for new fossils to show that that's the case, but it's not our preferred hypothesis going in because it is less parsimonious. It infers more evolutionary steps to say all of this is convergent. And what we look for in our tree search algorithms are the most parsimonious arrangement that minimizes the assumption of homoplastic or convergent evolution.
Yes.
So,
Good answer.
Great answer. I am publishing a holotype briefly while I was alone in the conversation.
I would say,
Thescelosaurus with a coprolite.
and I can't speak to every clade, but at least with invertebrates, like convergence is almost always fairly superficial. So there's like a difference between like total like gross convergence, which is like the vibe an animal gives when you look at it. This, for example, would be using something I learned about recently, is that basically saw sharks, the ones with the big long pointy faces and the cool teeth on the sides that look like chainsaws, have evolved. That shape has evolved 4 different times in like cartilaginous fish.
What?
There are saw sharks, a group of rays that do it.
Oh yeah.
I would like to advise everybody that I've cited everybody's work to achieve the advancements in mass extinctions.
And then
there.
I think the most interesting was on the one that all the art Spinosaurus is eating. What is it called?
Onchopristis.
Yeah,
Onchopristis is neither a ray or a shark. It is a skate that has evolved a like saw shark morphology. But they're all like, at first glance, you're like, oh, these are all the same. But there's all like differences in their like their fin assemblages and like how they make it. And this goes for most groups. Then there's the issue of convergence in characters, and because characters are a set number of things, and also whether a character is convergent is ultimately going to that's a product of an analysis. So there are features that maybe in some analyses, if perhaps the sampling is not ideal, or the sampling is ideal, that turn out to be, in a first run convergent, but in another run, the most parsimonious solution suggests they're homologous. Like all phylogeny, what's important is kind of this congruence and kind of this essential mass to push you into the most parsimonious direction of relationships. If that helped at all.
I have drawn erosion event. What does that do?
Okay, so
that's a good one.
Did you drew 2 cards?
I drew 2, yeah.
Okay, so you can pick what you want to do. You can either, would you mind putting erosion event just on the table? So you can choose to do the erosion event, or you can choose to play your regular one. Regardless of what happens, we will reshuffle the discard pile into the deck to reset the field expeditions. So you have a choice of either doing the field expedition that you drew, the other one, or you can take an action at any location as if you were there, based on the piece that you sent. So you sent your grad student, so you can either do the field expedition, or you can act as if your grad student is on any other space in the board.
Okay, I'll do that. I will act as if. Do I need to move from that
No,
spot?
you stay in that spot.
Okay, I will act as if I went to the library instead. It's a snow day.
And then you'll discard the other field expedition in your hand. We'll put the erosion event back. We will flip this, put it back in, put the two decks together, and shuffle them back together.
Draco Master, I feel like
Awesome.
my ethics are forcing me to step in here and say, please don't make a religion out of this. I see where this chat is going. Do not do this.
Well, it's fortunately brought up Draco Master because Draco Master did super chat us. Thank you very much. Asking, they weren't there for the first time. Can we get a rehash of everyone else's favorites of dinosaur, marine reptile, pterosaur, and let's just we'll bounce them off. Dinosaur, T-Rex, marine reptile, Mosasaurus, pterosaur, Quetzalcoatlus. I like big animals.
Favorite dinosaur, Gorgosaurus. Favorite marine reptile, Dolichorhynchops. Favorite pterosaur, Pteranodon.
Incredibly B-sides choices.
Yep.
Dino, Utahraptor, marine reptile, Chronosaurus, and pterosaur cats. Got us.
Great choices. Amelia.
What was the question? I was texting.
What are your favorite dinosaur, marine reptile? And
Just rehashing.
Just
rehashing.
rehashing.
Earlier. Dinosaur was a kind of a tie, but not really, between Carnotaurus and Azutoceratops, Tylosaurus and Pteranodon and or Geosternbergia.
Great choices. Really, everyone's choices are just fantastic, except for one person's.
Thanks.
Mine.
Again,
That's
I'm imploring our chat against cannibalism, please.
I left the chat for like 2 minutes to check something else.
We're on cannibalism
Once
now.
again.
Oh!
They've made a religion around us. There's a cult now, and they sacrifice by eating hearts.
That's interesting.
Great.
Someone asked a while ago, and I'm very sorry I can't find it in the chat, so I cannot call out who asked it, but someone was asking Amelia what your thoughts are. Oh, no, Wesley Atwater. Perfect. We found it. This is to replace the super chat that we couldn't answer, unfortunately. Wesley says, that's cool, guys. Thank you for understanding very much. We appreciate that. If y'all see this, I'd love to ask Amelia about Mosasaur endothermy, if she thinks it was more or less if it was more or less high compared to mammals. Love your videos. Thank you so much, Wesley.
Sure. It was nowhere near the level of mammals, but it was definitely they're running at a higher temperature than your average lizard. We know that because they were growing relatively quickly, more similar to monitor lizards, and monitor lizards today kind of have like the pseudo endothermy thing going on. Altogether, not surprising. They're large aquatic predators that are really active. Bluefin tuna do the same thing. I think they're like kind of somewhat approaching endothermy or generating their own heat, which is bizarre. But it's not like physiologically the same way that mammals are doing it. And I believe in monitor lizards, which you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. It's the same thing where it's like they're kind of going about it in a different way, but it's not like true endothermy in the way that mammals are.
I don't remember all the details with monitors. I thought to some degree it is an increased aerobic metabolic scope, which means that there's something like there's some convergence in that regard. But I do think there's a different cellular mechanism. I'm not Dalton.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it different from how tegus do it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But tegus are doing it by
Tegus did
muscle.
that.
I thought so. Tegus do it.
That's cool.
Only when they're incubating their eggs, right? They
Yeah, it's
maintain
a
high
facultative
volume.
measure.
And some snakes do this too, where they do shivering thermogenesis.
Right, which is essentially what tuna do. It's like a lot of muscle that's very, very active, like just mechanically, and like shivering or like anytime you're working out hard, your body temperature goes up because of that. But Dalton, I didn't want to cut you off about what Komodos are doing or monitors.
Oh, well, so monitors, so Swamp Ape has pointed out is tegus not monitors for endothermy, but monitors do have elevated metabolic rates compared to other lizards too. They I think it's less talked about, and it's kind of less like quote unquote endothermic, but they just have a higher basal metabolic rate. And no reptiles are so convergent on mammals because like part of what makes mammals special with our endothermy is we have brown adipose tissue, so we have brown fat, which essentially in that tissue, the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, are working, but they're not powering anything. So the processes that they undergo happen, and it's not that energy isn't being used to fulfill any purpose, and so it's generating heat. Birds don't have brown adipose tissue, but have kind of convergently gone into a similar mechanism. And I imagine that, like, give it enough time, probably some lizards will do that too. I don't know what like sea turtles do and stuff, and of course for like mosasaurs, like it's pretty much impossible to know.
Yeah.
Also, Amelia, if you're looking to snag something from the top of the discard pile, take note of the specimen.
Ah! Yeah, how do I do that?
If you go to the specimen lab, the middle option is you can draw from the top of the discard pile.
That's what that is. Okay, can I send a grad student to grab it?
Yes.
Or no? Or I'm sorry, field assistant.
Yeah, you can.
Dearest Swamp 8 Science in the chat, he mentions that the respiration is weird compared to other lizards, and I would say to that, sort of, in that they have a net unidirectional airflow, which they achieve through like these connections in their parabronchi and their lungs. The only thing is we don't really know how widespread that is in other lizards, because the work to do it is basically CT scanning a lizard, segmenting out their lung. This is stuff that oh my god, I'm going to embarrass myself by not remembering who did this. Not Rob Brocklehurst. Was this
I think a lot of this was it was Colleen Farmer and Emma Schachner have both contributed,
yeah,
but
the Schachner lab did.
I need to interrupt.
Yeah.
I need someone else to grab my card because it's under my hand and I can't.
Right
yeah.
But simply put, this kind of stuff has not been done widely across lizards, so there's a possibility that it's this kind of
there's a bunch of cards. You took the whole discard.
I
has
did?
evolved
Yeah.
Hang on, I got
uniquely
it.
or is more widely present in lizards.
Yeah.
And it's just a pretty widely spread thing in reptiles. Perhaps.
But yeah, I mean, the moral of the story is that squamate metabolism is more complex than a lot of people give it credit for. Despite the fact that yes, most of they are ectothermic, but
Did you just break your desk?
Hmm?
It looked like loud sound came out of your microphone.
Oh no, I think a door closed.
Oh, okay.
It sounded like you just snapped your desk in hand.
Yeah, it really did.
Can my leopard gecko heat my house? No, but your house
Everything
can heat your
burns.
leopard gecko.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, everything burns. There we go. Also, there were a lot of me-directed super chats
Do not
there
burn
for
your
a
pets.
bit.
Yeah, Scott, you took them out of context. How dare you take their cannibalism talk out of context?
No, I can still I condone worship of sauropods. They are deities in and of themselves. I do not condone the cannibalism part, though. But then also, on Scott Johnston disapproves of Majungasaurus and or Mosasaur skeleton crew viewers. I will be absolutely on the record. Take this out of context. Scott does not condone cannibalism. Let's not do this. I mean, honestly, and I think Amelia would back me up on this. I think that, it's safe to say that the skeleton crew, probably as a whole, does not condone pretty much any behavior that Mosasaurs ever did.
No,
I condone swimming.
I like to swim.
Yeah.
Okay,
Swimming.
sorry, swimming.
Okay, swimming's
is
good.
okay.
Wait,
Everything else is bad.
Can I ask a game question really quick?
Yes.
When I go to the museum collections, can I turn in multiple of one to get a multiple of the reward for the other? Like, if I turn in 2 purples, can I get 4 blues?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, swamp ape.
That's
That's
what I'm
interesting.
gonna do.
There are more terms than just endothermic, mesothermic, and ectothermic to describe some of these weird metabolic states. It's not just those 3. Those are just the 3 that are most widely used. Also, it does not smell like chlorine where I am. You're just seeing an unfurnished wall of my childhood home.
Dino Dom, thank you for the super chat. I can finally super chat. Here's $10. I have a question for the crew. What are the biggest, smallest, and your favorite specimens that you have worked on? I'll start, I suppose, just because I read it. Smallest specimen I worked on is probably, Helioscopos is probably the smallest one I've worked on, although I have done micro picking of salamander vertebrae and stuff. I wouldn't really consider that working on, but if you do count that, then tiny little like salamander vertebrae are the smallest. The biggest specimen I've worked on in my not substantial preparation background, I have done some fossil prep, and I helped to prep some brontothere teeth, as well as I've worked on excavation of a stegomastodon, which is the biggest thing I've ever worked on. My favorite specimen that I've worked on is probably the specimen of Parophysaurus that I am doing ongoing work on because it is a beautiful, beautiful lizard. I'll punt that to someone else. Reminder is biggest, smallest, and favorite specimen that you've worked on.
Oh. Alex, you can go ahead.
I'm just thinking, so I'm not going to include things I've worked on, just the CT data, because I don't think that's fair. If that's the case, sauropod stuff. But that's CT data, so that doesn't count. I've decided. Physically, I think the smallest thing I've worked with are Eurypterus remipes, and I measured a lot of them for a paper. Biggest, that's tricky. Most of my guys are kind of on the smaller side.
Chat,
well, actually, that's not true. There's some current stuff that I can't say anything about because then it's not published. Velociraptor's kind of big, and I guess in the field, I've excavated some prosauropods, probably Lufengosaurus, which I helped with, which is one of the biggest ones, and Massospondylus was pretty big too. My favorite specimen is a specimen I can't tell you about because it's in a paper that's not yet done. So, sorry. That's it.
My smallest, I mean, I guess define work done, right? Like, if it's something that I've studied in a museum collection, probably
I was
like
working under the assumption it had to be in like a paper, like the focus of
a paper. Then probably, well, I didn't really work on this stuff directly, so it might be a technicality, but the lacerted lizards from my work on species concepts in the fossil record, which it's the first author's Emmanuel Shop. If you're interested in reading it, I think it's open access.
I think it is.
In terms of dinosaurs,
did you dig it up?
In terms of dinosaurs, it would be Psittacosaurus amitaba, the smallest focus of a paper I've had yet, but there's one smaller one in the works that will be out hopefully soon. And then in terms of biggest thing that's ever been the subject of a paper, not so much right now. There's not a lot that's big. Probably Kuru's the largest thing that's been the subject of a paper, but there's things in the works that are going to be much bigger. And the largest fossil I've ever worked on in the field is Camarasaurus, which in my first summer of field work back in high school, we were digging out a very large Camarasaurus individual from Wyoming.
Can I also say I find it very funny that I'm being called cringe for being against cannibalism?
That's what a cringe person would say.
It's funny to me because of the group of us, I would, if I had to guess which one of us would try a person, it would be you.
Yeah, it'd be me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay, we don't have any super chats right now, so I can posit this ethical question that came up from some of the younger students at the Builder School. I don't remember the whole context, but one of the younger students asked if she in some way came to harm and needed to amputate a leg and was able to keep the leg, cook the leg, and invite people over for dinner, would you try the leg? Assuming the tissue is healthy, it didn't need to be.
I don't think we should have
that purpose.
Recorded responses to the "Would we do cannibalism?" question on our stream.
Well, you don't have to answer. I will just say that we had a very long discussion, and this derailed a department function because someone who had spoken to that student brought it to the department function, and it derailed the whole conversation for the rest of the night. Because like the premise is, theoretically, the general problem with cannibalism is that either you're going to get a prion disease and or there's not been consent. And in this case, you're not going to get a prion disease because it's leg.
Well, yeah, this happened.
and there would be consent.
A guy did this with his friend in Germany.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tacos.
They amputated his foot and made tacos. Yeah. Mhm.
I am simply going to insist for all of our future employability that we move off of this topic.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
moving off
Yes.
of this, but I will answer the question that was posed earlier of biggest, smallest, and favorite.
Right.
And Amelia,
smallest-
it's your turn, just so you know.
Okay.
Smallest would almost certainly be one of the tinier little nodo-ungulates that I worked on at the AMNH, and I will not be doing it based off of publication because it would be none. So yeah, it'd be one of the little nodo-ungulates that I worked on back at the AMNH, and I'm not including micro-picking and stuff. So for those of you unaware, nodo-ungulates are the group of now extinct South American mammals that are goofy and weird, like things like Toxodon and stuff, but they were very convergent on a bunch of really weird critters. This one was one of the more like rabbit-looking ones. And that guy was relatively tiny. I worked on a jaw, like a full jaw that was only about this big, which like not a bad size, but I've worked on jaw fragments that were much smaller. Biggest would be the specimen of Basilosaurus isis that we have at the University of Michigan Museum that I helped cast a whole bunch of, which is why I have mold and cast, actually, which is why I have Basilosaurus as my icon on our logo. And favorite would probably be... A favorite's hard to say, and I don't think I can say it. It's one of the things I've worked on here at Harvard that I think is one of the prettiest things I've worked on. I really hope I get to discover something that's similar to that, because I was picking up the work of my previous preparator colleague. But yeah, I'll withdraw my guys and pass the turn rat on.
River, thanks for joining us very much. We have a super chat from Azure Siren, who asks 2 questions. What's your favorite reconstruction of your favorite dinosaur in media? Also, what are your favorite prehistoric planet designs? Love your content.
Thank you.
I'm going to think about that. If someone else has an immediate answer that comes to mind, by all means. I'm going to go to the publishing house and complete a global objective.
Oh, my.
This is a very hard question.
5 Cretaceous Genosaur.
This is a hard question for me because I don't own nor have I played prehistoric. Wait, is this Planet or Kingdom?
They said Planet.
Planet.
Oh, the show.
Planet design.
Never mind. I'm going to steal this one before other people can say it, which is Kuru. I think it's neat.
Dalton, I've bumped you. I'm publishing something.
Okay. Oh, I took
what
the
it
wrong
is
guy.
yet, I do not know. Oh, I know what it is.
So my answer to both these questions is Kuru because
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Easy.
Ooh, creative.
Criticize us all you will. You have not had the high that is being surprised by a dinosaur you named appearing in a documentary yet.
Also,
That's true.
wait a minute before we fully move on. Amelia, did you give us your biggest, smallest, and favorite?
No.
Okay.
She eludes. Duck, dive, dodge.
Okay.
No,
I've published Camptosaurus. Amelia, it's your turn, and you can go.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay. We're gonna keep the party going, and I'm going to publish as a grad
Sure, forget the
student.
trigger.
I published Yorgi Boy
hot
Yay!
dog.
I'm not judging
It's
James.
appropriate.
3 and 2.
I am on that paper. I helped.
Yes, you
15.
did. I'm
Right,
not
we
saying you're
reset the
judging.
museum.
I was saying
No,
that
I'm
everybody else
reading
can
the
judge.
chat.
Oh, I see.
I was in the basement. Never mind.
Alex, second author. No, actually, you are second author.
Did you have to check?
No, I was getting confused with another. I was getting confused with another manuscript where Anjan is second author. I was trying to remember if he was second or if you were.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on. I'll
But-
focus. There we go.
Amelia, what are your smallest, biggest, favorite specimens?
Sorry, I was getting confused by the board game for a second.
No worries.
Biggest is easy, because it's Bunker. Bunker is the Tyrannosaurus at the KU Museum. The skull is as long as I am tall, and it's incomplete. So that thing is phenomenal. The only other, like, there are some secret specimens that are in that zone and that I will gladly talk about when that project is wrapped. And there's a specimen that I saw in Europe of a different kind of mosasaur that's like also in that zone, if not like bigger, which is phenomenal. So Bunker, for reference, is about 46-ish feet long. The big critter. Smallest fossil, not counting like the microfossils that I've found in the Heck Crick, is probably Selmasaurus, maybe. There's a Selmasaurus at the Sternberg that's pretty tiny. There's a baby Tylosaur. A couple of the baby Tylosaurs are pretty tiny. So probably one of those, probably VP78 specifically, is a little baby man in a little plaque mount in a little box in the drawer. He's very cute. Favorite specimen is hard and it changes daily. It just depends on what I'm working on. Probably right now, for a while it was / is Yorkie. Obviously, it's a cool specimen. I had a great time with that project, and I don't want to imply that it is not my favorite. I do love it. But currently, I was working on some material in Dallas. That again is also secret, but like it was my favorite because it was preserved in a way where the bone is jet black and the matrix around it is like a light gray. So it's just immaculate. It's so gorgeous. A couple of them are preserved that way, and they're fantastic.
Nice.
I am going to send my field assistant to the specimen lab.
I feel like you guys should let Dalton win because it's his specimen.
You guys didn't let me win. You didn't even let me publish Yorkie last time.
This is true.
No, I did it.
Yeah. This has worked out shockingly that we both.
And he'll do it again.
That we both published our guys. Someone earlier asked if Helioscopos would be a good pet. What it'd be like? It would be a good pet. I think it'd probably be a lot like they have to be like a leopard gecko. I bet it would be. Kyo Disaster asked for Amelia, given how mosasaurs were, if you got the option to feed a mosasaur and or dive with one, what do you think would be done safely given their size?
I think there's a way you could feed them safely from a distance. You could probably shark cage dive with them, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere near one without a shark cage, basically. Like I don't want to be near a large iguana without like knowing it or being with someone who knows the animal and knows how to handle it. Like lizards in general are, I don't want to say unpredictable because they're not unpredictable. Lizards very much like dogs, like cats, like any animals, like there's body language that if you know the animals, you can pick up on when they're not happy and when they want you to leave them alone. They do tell you, which, is true of, depends on most, like the larger lizards do. I see Alex shaking his head, but like they do. I picked up on body language in geckos, like, and they're much more subtle, like I have worked with lizards. But I still like large ones, like they're fast and they're strong and they are not necessarily happy that you're there. Even if they might be like tolerating your presence. And the biggest iguanas and even monitors we have today come nowhere close to mosasaurs. Like the biggest lizards we have today are the size of the smallest mosasaurs. I don't think there's any way without a cage you'd be safe. Feeding or a captive situation, probably from a distance.
What about jungle situations?
Yes.
They're not in the jungle.
That's true.
See,
The water jungle.
The water jungle, the ancient Amazon. I don't know. Well, that's a good point. Were they living in rivers? We don't know because it doesn't preserve.
this is misinformation. When I was in Australia, I walked into the jungle and I saw the biggest goanna I've ever seen in my life, which is larger than some Komodo dragons I've seen in zoos. And he was on the ground, and then I kind of walked towards him, and he climbed up a tree, and then I got food, and then I threw him little pieces of cooked chicken, and he checked them out. All wild animals are your friends, everyone. You can go up to them and interact them with no risk.
No.
Satire.
Draco Master.
They seem like they'd be mean, Amelia. I agree.
Yeah. Very quickly, in the specimen lab, I draw 3 and discard 1. Or
yes, if you're with a grad student, yes.
With a grad student?
Or a paleontologist.
Yeah,
if you're a paleontologist or a grad student.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you draw 3 and discard 1, and it doesn't have to be one of the ones you drew that you discard. If you've just
Yeah.
got like a stinker in your hand, you can get rid of it.
2, 3.
Um,
This
Also,
is balls. None of these are what I need.
That's a
Also,
good point.
I don't think I said last time that I did publish Coelophysis on my
yes,
last-
that's right.
Yes.
Scott did.
Oh,
and you did not
published
say
something
that.
about Coelophysis? Oh, the game. Sorry.
Um,
Sorry. That wasn't supposed to be a joke.
Draco
No,
Master
no. I understood.
has a super chat from Draco Master. Thank you very much. What are y'all's favorite video games or game series? Well, I will answer this. My favorite video game right now, at least, is probably Baldur's Gate 3. It's a triumph of
Good choice.
everything. It's incredible. My favorite video game series is the Mass Effect series because I really love the world building and the story.
I've had wonderful memories with the Assassin's Creed video game series. As a big history buff, I always really liked them. I've liked them up through the present. They're very fun. Although I haven't played the most recent one. The most recent one I played is Valhalla, which I liked. Although I don't think it was one of the best. I think Origins was kind of unambiguously the best one in the whole series. Like, that was really
The Egypt one.
the Egypt one. I think
interesting.
So. Yeah.
Okay. That was the. Oh, when did that come out?
2017, I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal yours, but yeah, Origins was cool. I mean, I like the Pilot one, but that's a pretty basic.
The pirate one, Black Flag is also great. So I liked all of those. That's probably my favorite series. Favorite video game of all time is a tough one, I think. I've enjoyed a lot of them a little bit. I must say I got a lot of enjoyment out of Crusader Kings 2 in my time. Especially when they added a DLC that just added horrible, grotesque sounds that it makes when you kill people in the game, including several dedicated sound effects for the sound of prisoners being crushed to death by an elephant.
And yet we're not allowed to talk about the ethics of cannibalism on stream.
Because that's would you eat somebody if they offered you their leg versus
it's a philosophical discussion. This is not, I went out of my way to add gross mutilation sounds.
I didn't go out of my way to do it. It was a free update that came to the game. Steam downloaded it for me, Amelia.
Sure.
Anyway, I was very big into Crusader Kings, but I like strategy games a lot. So I like all of the Paradox games are great. I don't get a lot of time to play them anymore, but I've had a lot of fun with them.
I think I'd say my favorite video game is I've had a lot of games that I really like. I've had a lot of games that I like to go back and play, and it's weird that my favorite video game is one that I don't think I will ever replay. But it's one that I will shout from the rooftops anytime I hear that any of my friends have not played it, or any of you in chat who haven't played it, which is Outer Wilds. I think it's one of the greatest games ever made. Not Outer Worlds, not to be confused with that one.
That came out the same year.
They came out the same year. Outer Wilds. Mm-hmm. There was actually a very funny clip from, I believe it's the No Clip documentary on Outer Wilds, where they're going through all the development of everything and how they did all the absolutely batshit stuff that they did in that game. That game, the entire solar system in that game that you explore is physics-based to the point where you won't be able to notice it, but they can actually calculate it that, yes, when you jump on a planet, you are putting that same amount of force into the planet, and it is changing its rotation by the absolute most minute of non-measurable degrees. But it's really cool that it does happen. But so in that documentary, there's a point where it's at the Game Awards or something like that, the Outer Wilds devs learned that Obsidian's next game was going to be called Outer Wilds, and this was after they had already gone gold, and they're just pulling their hair out of is there any way that we could do anything? But that game is amazing. It's so good. Favorite franchise? Probably The Witcher, honestly.
Ooh.
Franchise.
Yeah, Witcher 3's. I've only played that one, but it's last.
I played 2 and 3, and I need to play, even though I think Gwent is fun, but I have heard that Thronebreaker is rad. I love the books.
Yeah.
What's the deal? What's the place that the DLC is set in 3?
Which Duchy
of something.
Of
Tucson, I think.
Tucson. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. It's like even better than the base game. It's so cool.
Although I do think that the best DLC is Hearts of Stone.
Gunter Dim's little song. Yeah, that's.
Oh my
Gunter
god.
Dim. Gunter,
Still haven't beaten
Gunter
Witcher 3.
O'Dim, because it's his initials are God.
Oh, haha! I see. That's fun.
It is.
Those
fun.
are good games. They're so much better than
Such good
Skyrim.
games. They really are. I
Imagine if
remember when
Skyrim
there
was
was
fun to play.
I remember when there was the fight around that at the beginning, and I was just like, this is not a fight.
My favorite video game is Skyrim. You guys are bullies.
Is it really, Amelia?
Yep.
Oh
Thank you.
no!
It's either Skyrim or like I played a couple of the Pokemon games. Like I started with Pokemon Diamond and have done a couple since then. I think it was White 2 or Black 2. One of those, the second one though, actually kicked ass. It was pretty good. But I also have put many, many hours into Skyrim, and it is one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game. So thank you.
I didn't mean it.
I have published Parasaurolophus.
Well, how about you,
wow.
Amelia? What's your favorite game and series?
I just said that.
You just
I
said
know,
her favorite.
I just don't. Humor is dead.
Humor is dead.
Wait, I have to answer this
Dalton,
stupid question.
Thank you for publishing Parasaurolophus.
No, I'm kidding. It's not a stupid question. Video games are fun.
Dalton, hold Alt on Corythosaurus and mouse back and forth between Corythosaurus and Parasaurolophus. Their feet are the same.
Oh wow! Huh.
I think we've all been. In terms of games, we've gotten a lot of enjoyment out. None of my comrades have mentioned the free Call of Duty Warzone, which we spent
We've gotten
hours.
zero enjoyment out of
Hours.
Warzone.
I've gotten positive enjoyment out of Warzone.
Not net positive, yeah.
No, net positive.
Now, I would
slimly.
never
All right.
spend a
I'm
dime
citing
on
some
one
work.
of the games, but
I see.
that doesn't include skins. But no, my favorite game. I saw someone in the chat say Alien Isolation, which I played for almost 2 years because I loved
Really
it.
good. You played Isolation for 2 years? What
I
were
would
you
replay
doing?
it, and then my friends would be like, "Hey, have you played the Alien Isolation?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll play it." And I'd play their version of Alien Isolation.
If you didn't see.
I really like Control and the first Alan Wake game, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to play the second one, but I don't have a PlayStation 5.
I
so.
bounced off the first Alan Wake game, honestly.
It's not as
I need to
good.
play it again.
As Control, but Star Wars Battlefront 2 I got a lot of enjoyment out of, but gun to my head, the best game I've ever played, and nothing has come close to it, in my opinion, is Bloodborne. It's checked all the little brain things, and series would be just kind of the loosely connected Souls series, although I do think Demon Souls and Dark Souls 2 and 3 are just kind of okay. They're not bad. But Sekiro, which I haven't beaten because I'm bad at it, I really like. And Elden Ring, which I'm still stuck on the same 3 bosses, and I still really like it. But yeah, that series, that loose series are my favorites.
And we now have another very Alex question from
Wait,
Draco
have you
Master.
started playing Bloodborne, Scott?
Not yet. I've had no time.
Gosh darn it.
So we have another question from Draco Master that's very up Alex's field here, which is opinions about movies. What's everybody's opinions on this year's Oscar noms?
Ooh, I mean, it depends on the category.
I can start off with a fun, probably non-controversial one.
Please.
I think that it is really, really neat that the Best Animated Picture nominations this year are not the traditional thing of one very clear front runner and then a bunch of this also made monies, and that this is the first time in ages I haven't seen every single one of these going into it. I'd never heard of the robot one. It's like a Spanish film festival movie, and it's that's really cool. I haven't seen one of those nominated for an animated picture for a while.
I'm sorry. I need to jump back because Cretaceous Critter just said something in chat that jogged my memory. My favorite video game of all time, the individual one, is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead 2.
Yeah, somehow it
Great
completely
game.
left my brain. That is a wonder. I was looking at my Steam library and what's installed.
It's up
And
there
Red
for
Dead's
mine
apparently
too.
not installed, so I didn't see it. But yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful game.
Undeniably good.
Undeniably good. I think one of the few that has brought a tear to my eye, and I love it.
Also,
Oh my
I'm
God.
playing Hypacosaurus.
My lord, there are so many Dinosaurs coming out.
I do. I mean, I have opinions.
Oh, and Scott publishing that, we get our next achievement block.
Oh,
Woo!
but I don't want to. If anyone else has Oscar,
yeah. I mean, I have slight Oscar thoughts, which is I predict Oppenheimer getting Best Picture, and I think that would be deserved. I like it a lot. No knock on the other nominees, but I think it was a fairly incredible reaction to a movie that is about 3 hours of people talking in rooms. That
That's good.
resonated with so many people and had such cultural impact.
Yeah.
Because I did not expect it to do well. I thought it would be a fairly niche movie.
my my friend Chris, who you guys met, some of you met, a few of you met Chris. He was at the party, and also he's come to Call of Cthulhu a few times. He was at a screen. His girlfriend works for some kind of media, and so she does these Oscar screenings for a pre-thing for the Oscars. And she went to a screening of Oppenheimer 2 nights ago, and Christopher Nolan was there,
Oh my God,
Oh,
that's amazing.
which was pretty cool.
Dale, I've bumped your grad student.
I'm so
Okay, that's
sorry,
fine.
Swamp Ape. Your comment there. I have more hours in Monster Hunter than my marriage.
That's
So
hilarious.
funny.
I'm very happy with the Oscar noms this year, by and large. Like a ton of it was a great year for movies, and the Oscars only showed that. It's phenomenal. I mean,
Amelia
and I
Earhart.
think it's been lost, unfortunately, a little bit in some of the other discussion about it. That Lily Gladstone getting nominated for Best Actress, the first Indigenous actress to get that nomination, is just outstanding. I
She
haven't
has
seen
a really solid shot at making
Yeah.
that too. She
Oh,
does
yeah.
a powerhouse
I
performance in
haven't
that.
seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet. I desperately want to. I know
It's
that
very
now
good.
that we have a trial of Apple TV, I plan on watching it.
You
My
don't need
one
to steal my account again.
my one Oscars comment that I don't think it's a snub, because everything I think that everything that's been nominated deserves to be there. I really wish Iron Claw had gotten anything,
Yeah,
because it's so good.
Turnrad's mine.
It's such a good movie. If you haven't had a chance to see Iron Claw and you have the emotional fortitude to be very, very sad, I recommend seeing Iron Claw. It's great.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I was amazed that it didn't get a nomination. It got
Honestly,
nothing, right?
very same.
It got nothing.
That's amazing.
Um,
I haven't seen it.
Can I have a quick gameplay question just
Yes.
while I'm getting my 3 research cubes here? Actually 4, because I have a specialization now. With the global objectives, it's you pay 5.
yeah, you pay 5 unless you can contribute to it exclusively. If you have everything needed to do it,
Then it's
you
just
don't-
free
then
for
it's
you?
Free. Then it's free.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. That's it.
Okay.
And Dalton, a gameplay question, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
The global objective contributions, are they additive or do you get the highest one?
You get the highest one. They're not additive.
No, because we did that additive last time, and you were absolutely blowing all of us out of the water by orders of magnitude.
Right, which is what I was planning to do again if it was still additive.
Yeah, I saw what you were doing.
Logan Rocks has asked opinion on Red Dead 2's Dinosaur, quote in quotes. I think it's funny.
It's
I
very
think it's
funny.
great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can hear my opinions on it because a YouTube channel paid me to make a video about it last year.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's important. It's an important reminder of why only accredited paleontologists should be naming species.
Stop it.
Jokes, satire. Also, my Oscar opinions. I think I've only seen half the Best Picture nominations.
Yeah.
Generally, my opinions about the Oscars are that it's a little insider baseball, but it's a good opportunity for early filmmakers, small studios, and maybe people who are breaking out into the field to get recognition. So it's not, it's, yeah, everyone's like, ooh, who cares about the Oscars? And I'm like, yeah, obviously, most people, you shouldn't care that much, but for some people, it is important, and it's a good opportunity for kind of maybe underrepresented or underheard artists to kind of carve out space and get recognized for future projects.
Yeah, I also think.
So, oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, tagging along to that, I think the Oscars are an opportunity for like movies to get more distribution than they might otherwise, like, and for people to get like learn about them. Like every year, there's some movies that are nominated that I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that. I'm gonna actually try to see it because it seems interesting, and like the prestige around them is inflated and probably overly inflated, but simultaneously, like having this kind of prestigious award that everyone is culturally aware of gets people's eyes on movies that they might not otherwise be aware of. Like if you're the kind of like, I mean, if you're like a kind of more casual moviegoer and you're like, I haven't heard of, I mean, there's some stuff in this year's Oscars I haven't heard of. There's one that I can't even remember the name of. Unfortunately.
Is it Zone of Interest?
No, it's not Zone of Interest. I saw a trailer for
wait.
that. I saw the trailer for Zone of Interest in front of Iron Claw, and I do want to see it.
One of my friends has seen that now, and apparently it's dope.
I saw Zone of Interest.
Another one of my friends has seen it now.
It's so good. My opinion was going to be that it probably should win everything, but it's also a not good vibes movie.
Yeah,
it's a bad vibes movie. It's great. No, and I don't think it should win everything. I'm being a little reductive because I think it's just fresher in my mind. I liked Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was great. Killers of the Flower Moon is also super good.
I've been trying to carve 3 hours of time to watch it, and I have not been able to yet, but I'm dying to.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, gun to my head, I'd be hard pressed to kind of decide between that and Oppenheimer as far as like long, excellent movies about historical things. And Barbie was good, and that's all I'll say about that.
Can I claim this 2 Cretaceous marine reptile holotype disc spot?
Not at the same time as you published Terminator, or like
that's Scott on the board. You're claiming it because you want it.
What?
Wait, are you trying to put your thing on it, or are you just saying you want to get that? What did you just do?
I just published Terminator on a whatever.
So no, you have to go back to the publishing house to do that.
Why?
Because that's the rule.
Because you can only do only do see how there's the slash between it.
Oh.
So you can either do one or the other.
I see. So it's a separate action. I thought like I've never gotten to do one of those. I've never gotten to that part of the game. So okay.
19 of these guys.
Oh my god, Dylan.
I really appreciate that. I have to say that is such a cool name for a marine reptile, and also it's just Terminator with an extra syllable in it.
It's a beautiful art of it, Terminator.
Did you call it Terminator?
Yeah.
No, it's
Terminator.
Terminator. Yeah. God, it sounds like I'm having a stroke. Terminator.
It's a good animal. It's a really good art.
They should have just called it Terminator.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun
dun.
I can give more Oscar. Dalton, if you were going to say things.
No, I think there were some questions in chat that I wanted to.
Oh yeah.
We've all. Amelia,
we said Oscar things.
Amelia, did you have any Oscar thoughts?
No.
Aughts, if you will.
I'm glad the Godzilla got nominated for something.
I wish it was for best international.
Yeah.
I mean, it should have gotten that, but I'm not on the committee.
I have one thought to add to the discussion of the, kind of in-group award thing, which is that I think on a very, what I hope is a wholesome note, what better than getting an award that is considered the highest among your community by the people in your community? Like, I think that's very meaningful. Like, I don't care that the Oscars don't mimic the global box office performance of movies. Like, I think their proposal to create a category for best popular movie was one of the most insulting and out of touch things I'd ever heard. Of like, best movie that anybody saw.
Also, Alex, you're muted, by the way.
Sorry, I was just saying with The Flash, that scene with the Flash.
The Flash entered the Speed Force. Everyone clapped.
I'm pulling my guys out.
I'm so sad that one scene of him putting a baby in a microwave was reversed.
Yeah, it's really funny.
But anyway, I just think I don't know. I think it's nice to get high awards from the community of people who make the kind of thing you make or do the kind of thing you do.
I think,
And Amelia, it's your turn.
unless it's Avatar sweep.
Obviously.
How could they snub Avatar every year?
Every
Dalton,
year.
you were going to address some questions that were asked.
Oh, well, so someone asked if anyone in the chats played the Telltale Walking Dead series.
I need to play the other one. The first one I loved, and I ugly cried at it. It was great.
I haven't
So
played
really
any.
quickly, I need to trade 5 of the white cubes. for the
No,
disc.
because you can satisfy it on your own. Because
Yeah, so you can do it for
So
free.
you get it for free.
Oh, okay. So I just have to go there and do
Yeah,
Yeah.
just have to go
Yeah.
there.
Then who's gray? You're gray. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I ugly cried at those. I need to play the sequel. I own them. I just haven't.
Yeah.
I see a question. Thoughts on the announcement of a new Jurassic World movie? We have some. Stay tuned.
We do.
Yeah, stay tuned
Watch
for that.
this space. Oh,
Consume-
why did I just
consumer
pass my
content.
turn rat?
I don't know, I'll take it.
I didn't do anything.
Preemptive turn rat passage.
Mm-hmm. Take this guy over here. Flip. Ooh.
Oh,
Is there?
Isaac, I see. My feelings are that of the shows listed, Andor is one of the best pieces
Shows.
of science fiction cinema I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barry is fantastic, and I heard that Better Call Saul did not win anything, which is
It does. Yeah.
sacrilegious because it's way. I'm not going to say way better because that's reductive, but it's better than Breaking Bad and is phenomenal.
It is, and it is.
I think that our good friend is at his best in Malcolm in the Middle. Not that he's bad in Breaking Bad, but Malcolm in the Middle is so good. I love that show.
It's an amazing show. I was disappointed that Andor didn't get more love at the Emmys, and it only didn't because it was like this year was great for movies. It was also great for television. So I'm
Yeah.
not surprised that Andor didn't get things in light of like Succession and stuff. But God, it's I haven't watched Succession, and I'm sure it's amazing, but I don't know, man. Like Andor might be the perfect show for me.
Same.
Having watched Succession, I cannot. I watched a couple of episodes of Andor, and while I thought Andor was very good, I think in a dead heat between the two of them, I think the edge has to go to Succession. It's one of the best written and acted shows I've ever seen. But that's no knock on Andor. It's just Succession is kind of something else.
Yeah, I do need to watch it.
Yeah.
Can I also say on the topic of
Publishing
shows,
Uniceratops.
I want to use my platform to preach the good word of a show that I've heard like nobody fucking talk about, which is everybody needs to watch Scavenger Train. I want to talk about it with more people. It's such a good show.
I do
First
want to watch
episode
that.
Has been paused on my HBO on my laptop for like a month now, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get.
It's so good. Alex, you would love it.
I
I
know.
cannot wait to talk with you about it.
We've just
I
got to
watched
watch
the
it at some
short.
point, Alex.
The short
Yeah.
is so fun. Ugh.
Dalton,
James-
I was going to ask for your turn, Rat.
It is your turn. I have published Uniceratops.
I have to say, I really like when we get in a flow in this where we're just passing the turn around and we're answering questions. It's fun. I enjoy doing
I almost
this.
feel like a professional streamer. It feels
You guys
me with dread.
All of you guys should publish more species more often so we can play this more frequently.
We could
Oh,
also
you know-
play this game. Like we could just have
Scott,
we
we're
could be
trying.
friends. Yeah, we're working our best.
I'm
We're just-
trying,
holy
Dutch.
moly.
I'm only one man.
This year will.
Watch the space.
I think this year will bring many holotype streams.
Many holotype streams. Good. Ooh, Wanderer just asked, Alex, what's the best Lovecraft story and why is it Color Out of Space?
Amelia,
Oh, it's fortunate that you had the
Lucy, I'm
correct
sorry.
opinion. It is Color Out of Space.
Great story.
It's the most alien of any of the aliens, and it's also one of the best written. Shadow over Innsmouth is also pretty good, and Call of Cthulhu is also pretty good, and The Whisper in Darkness is also pretty good. But Color Out of Space is great.
Yeah. Jai has asked a question, James, and it's a Tyrannosaur taxonomy question, but I think it's one that you might be able to speak on because I don't think it's. It's more general interest than anything else.
What do I think about Tarbosaurus being separated into two species or genera? Can I ask, Jai, to clarify, do you mean Tarbosaurus as not being a species, or as being a species of Tyrannosaurus, or do you mean splitting Tarbosaurus itself into multiple things? And I can answer either of those questions, I think.
While you're waiting for that answer to come in, I just want to say anybody who's a fan of Lovecraft stuff and wants to read more, I would highly, highly, highly recommend reading The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle.
Very good.
It's very good. Also, someone said Annihilation, and that's fun too.
Oh, I think the comparison is that Annihilation is shockingly similar to A Color Out of Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, a little bit. I think there's a lot of thematic differences that are better developed. So Annihilation is part of the New Weird, and I think frankly, and I'm number one. I've read all the Lovecraft stuff, but I think the New Weird is much more interesting in almost every way than the classic Lovecraft stuff. Because I don't know, Color Out of Space Scary is great, but Color Out of Space Scary and also addictive and beautiful is even better. The two follow-up books are kind of bad. Also, my opinion on I don't like that I'm a Scream books. Is it's very good, and I liked one of the only PC games I played was on my cousin's rigged. He had the interactive game version of that, which I played some of, and I thought that was also very cool.
Nice, and also Jay, who reminds us that it's pronounced Jay.
Says, oh my goodness. Apologies.
Tarbosaurus being multiple species, as in Raptorex and Genghis Khan are possibilities.
And you have the Turn Rat.
And I have the Turn Rat. My God, so much has fallen on my plate at once. Raptorex was supported as valid in Thomas Carr's most recent paper, where he argued that it's different enough from the known juvenile Tarbosaurus that it's probably a distinct thing. And I concur with him on that. So I do think that Raptorex is probably valid, but Raptorex is absolutely, definitely a young juvenile of a Tyrannosaur species. So there's something else lurking in Mongolia that we haven't yet picked up an adult of, which is interesting.
Death worm.
And it doesn't really match what we know of any other Tyrannosaur from the area. So did I get kicked off? That is what happened, isn't it? A very sad day for me. I'm going to go to the field. Or no, I'm going to the museum collection with my field assistant. I'm really shaking things up here. As far as Genghis Khan, that's never found a lot of traction. And while I'm not really willing to write off anything offhand, I've yet to see any compelling evidence for it. I think it's just something people are talking about again right now. Possible.
James, could you explain what the situation is?
No, I cannot. Yes, I can, of course. So Genghis Khan is a putative other species of Tarbosaurus. This was named by George Olszewski, who was not a professional paleontologist. It was named in a very long magazine article where he named a couple of other dubious taxa like Dino, Tyrannus, Stygivenator, a couple of other things like that. And the idea was that... I'm sorry?
Those are, just some fun prefixes in there.
Yeah, he got some cool names. Genghis Khan was based on some differences that he noted between that and the holotype of Tarbosaurus ephraimovi. And so his idea was that it should be Genghis Khan Batar and then Tarbosaurus ephraimovi. There has not been a detailed study of all the Tarbosaurus material. And so while I don't think that it's been fully tested yet, it doesn't seem amazingly likely. So possible. it's something that we would. It's something I would certainly like to address in research one day, but I have no plans to. And I'm sure that other teams will do the same just to kind of check. We have...
There's a super chat from Addison.
Very
sorry,
quickly,
Mia.
Scott, I do think it's my turn again because I said I
Okay.
published Gastonia and I handed you the rat and I said that I did it and then I realized I was muted.
Oh,
So, I
okay.
think it
All
is
right.
actually-
Yeah, we're just
sorry.
trying to figure out whose turn it is.
yeah,
No, it's me.
I just went, yeah.
Yep.
And we should still be at 23. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Addison has asked super chat. Thank you very, very much. Hey, big fan of your work. Thank you also for that question. Favorite early 2000s platformer. Also, if my name sounds familiar, I'm the dude that sent Dalton that email. LOL. Well, thanks for sending the email. Favorite early 2000s platformer. I am not good at platformers, and so I don't play a lot of them. It's one I never beat, but I really like the aesthetic of it, which is Sly Cooper. You got to be a Thievius Raccoonus. So
I never really played a lot of platforming games, so I can't really answer.
Same.
What is
Yoshi's Island a platformer?
Yoshi's Island might be. They're like Mario style games where you jump on
Oh,
platforms.
the Wii Super Mario, easy.
Early 2000s.
Kicked ass. Oh, well, I don't remember that. / didn't have a game console, so I can't comment.
Probably
Yeah, I
from
didn't really have. I was not playing games on a console until. Yeah, not then.
Oh, I was going to say Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, but I guess that one's actually a late 90s
Really?
platform. It's 97. I was
Oh, wow.
I was looking up when it came out. I love that game. That game's great.
SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. Thank you,
Oh,
Sean.
very good. Very good.
You can jump in Bloodborne very poorly. Elden Ring's got more of a platformer. Also, it's worth saying that Sekiro is also kind of... No, never mind. Ignore me. I'm now just thinking of every game where you can jump.
Yeah. Dalton, it's yours. I took a quick one.
I'm just putting a message in chat. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, just letting you know, because
Fire off
the
into
recall ones are quick.
Oh, I'm team leader.
Call of Duty is not a platform.
What are you
It's on
talking
a
about? I'm
platform.
currently
Is
jumping
Is
onto
mayonnaise a
platform.
platformer?
I don't know how to pin a message. But I'm gonna-
Then Spyro for me then. For an actual early 2000s one.
Pin it.
I can pin it, Dalton, and I did.
Oh, thank you.
I love Spyro.
Spyro's pretty great. I never played any of. I played a Game Boy Advance game of Spyro. I never played any of like the mainline Spyro games. So
There was a barbershop I attended as a child, and they had like a PlayStation set up. But this was before I played video games, so I didn't know how to play. But I would watch people play a Spyro game, and I'm like, that looks cool. That was my experience with Spyro.
The Spyro games are great. The Reignited trilogy is very frequently on sale, by the way, on Steam, and it's very good value.
I got stuff to do.
That's fair. Just saying.
Now that you say that, I'm reminded of a very long time ago. I think it was either Burger King or McDonald's had the little handheld Spyro things. that you could
Yeah.
play. So that would be my answer because that was actually the right time zone, and I had one of those, and it kicked ass. It was very
There you
fun.
go. So Draco Master asked us a fun question, boosting Kyle Maley's question to the best of their ability. Best dino vocals in media. I'll add an addendum onto this. Let's not do Jurassic Park because those are almost like the canon sounds for every animal.
Is this just like an antagonize / discriminate against me? I can't like Skyrim. I can't list.
Okay,
the
everybody
one-
but Amelia.
Yeah, I know.
Amelia can give the Jurassic Park answers. We can give the in the
Park,
weeds
Scott,
one.
also, the Jurassic Park ones are objectively the best. We should all just say that.
it's correct.
It's
The
correct.
Jurassic Park
Boring
sounds
answers.
Okay.
Well, what else
Boring
do we-
answer.
Hold
what else do
on.
we-
I've got to do the boring thing of deciding which of the cards I can't use I'm going to discard.
This is
Can I give-
giving me that audio from the Basement Yard podcast that's been going around
ahead,
recently of the like, what's your favorite flavor of Pop-Tart? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's strawberry,
No.
obviously. It's like, what a basic bitch answer. You want a real answer? You want a real answer? It's the when dinosaurs roamed America, Dilophosaurus. It's
God, that's
definitely up
become
there.
so mainstream that I know that one having never seen the show.
It's so good.
I have an
nice
annoying,
No answer. Sorry.
an obnoxious dweeb answer, which is that documentary with a lyrebird in it with David Attenborough. Because
Oh,
that's
shut
the
up.
most cool thing I've ever heard.
Oh my
That's
God.
the coolest thing I've ever heard an animal do.
It's
Yeah,
so cool.
it's so rad.
It's so cool. But did you know that birds are dinosaurs, chat?
Yes, did
Oh
you know
my
that?
god.
Did you know that, guys?
Yeah.
Did you
I
know that
wanna-
I'm publishing a holotype?
Oh my God, what is it?
It's going to make a
Oh.
lot of y'all really mad.
It's going to be huge because it has 4 Triassic cubes.
And
Oh,
free research.
What is this?
They say he got to go, Gyrosaurus.
Oh, 12?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Let's
12
go!
This is asinine.
How did you lay my guy down? You laid him out. I've never seen you from the side.
Can I just, I want to address something in chat. Wesley asked if they found a hypothetical adult of Raptorex, would they have to keep Raptorex as the genus name? Yes, unless it's close enough to Tarbosaurus or Alioramus that we would consider it a member of that species, or I'm sorry, of that genus instead.
We all get our last thing, our last achievement
Hooray!
block.
Oh,
Our last what?
Our little achievement block thing that you can pick.
Oh, okay.
The JWE Carcharodontosaurus is actually a very good pick. That's a sleeper pick, I will say. It's got some fun noises. And Dom from Wildlife Wire does make a good point that I do believe that we are contractually obligated, even though we are going to be actually to hell of dinosaur vocals. How could we not say the honk?
Oh, the honk, yes.
the honk.
The honk is
The
excellent.
honk.
The honk is good. Also, Jay, Raptorex has never been proposed to be an Allioramian, and I don't think it is one, but it is theoretically possible, just to clarify.
Oh, God. Draco Master asked, does anybody in the crew know about Warhammer / Age of Sigmar Lizardmen? I know a little bit about them, but not much.
Yeah, same.
I try to keep Warhammer at arm's reach, not because I don't like it, but because I think I'll really like it. And I already have enough expensive hobbies, and like I do PC gaming. I like to make cocktails.
Dalton,
I play
thank you.
Magic now. Like I can't just keep coming up with more holes to pour money into. So I cannot become interested in Warhammer, either fantasy or 40K. But God, those lizard men are fun, especially when they're like biggest unit in the total Warhammer is like Caprasuchus that's the size of a blue whale.
Okay,
And it's like,
I just
what?
want to let everybody know I got the ability that I can look through the Discord, the
discard pile?
discard pile. So I did that, and my
Okay.
turn is over.
They sound like they're based on the serpent folk from the Lovecraft mythos.
They probably are. I mean, I think there's also the there's like a similar kind of race, I think, in D&D that is, they all share
Yeah, but those are also probably coming from.
no, yeah, they all, I think, stem from the same common ancestry of idea.
They're fun.
Ooh.
They have a lot of dinos and stuff that are very, very interesting and very fun.
We mostly play Magic, the bagel.
Yeah. We do indeed play Magic. We haven't played Magic in a while.
No, we haven't.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
My I will say my
Ooh.
like newly polished and like revved up Gishath commander deck has
Ooh.
been absolutely dominating recently, and I've been having such a good time with it. Chindisaurus,
With egg.
Egu.
What I would ask Kevin.
Kyle
oh,
Maley,
sorry.
did you see the Magic Jurassic World cards?
Oh yeah.
Good God, we all did. Hey Dalton, you want to have some opinions on Life Finds a Way?
Do it.
the
Do it.
most iconic quote from the franchise, and the best thing you can think to put on the card is the Sinoceratops, an animal that's been in 1/3 of the franchise. It's been in 2 movies briefly. T-Rex has been in every movie. Velociraptor has been in every movie. There's any number of good things you could have put on that card, and you ruined it. That being said, there's a lot of really good cards in the Jurassic World set that I like a lot. But
I thematically very like even though I don't use it, I very much like Don't Move, where it's like anytime anything untaps, it gets destroyed. That one's fun. It's so thematic.
It's great.
Oh, I get to re-roll some of these. I'll put these back.
I'll buy some new Magic cards in 5 years when the next Eldrazi block comes out.
Oh my god, you're such a monster.
Thank
They're
you,
so
Kevin.
much fun. I love Eldrazi cards.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know why you guys hate them.
Because we play against them. That's why we hate them.
I don't know. That seems like...
Well, no, you know why I hate them? It's because every time I play with Alex, and every time I play, when it's just myself, it's like annoying, but like whatever. If I play with anyone else, I'm like, all we have to do is keep him from reaching like turn 6 or 7. Like, the Eldrazi are annoying, but only if you let them get annoying. And everyone, every time, seems to have retrograde amnesia and forget that, hey, we need to do something about this before he takes our turn for us and destroys our cards by looking at them. But there's plenty of time to stop that from happening if everyone is just like, okay, common enemy, whatever.
It is weird. Because we only really play with the same like 4 people over and over again.
Yeah. There's been a super chat, though, from Logan, who asked Logan Rocks, who asks, if you could safely hang out with any dinosaur without fear, murder, or maiming, what would you want to hang out with? That's a great question.
Yeah. T-Rex, we said it. Move on.
Yeah, probably T-Rex.
If I didn't have to worry for my life, the big cool one.
Although I would say that probably like T-Rex would in actuality probably behave like a lot of large carnivores and just be sleeping a lot of the time. So it'd be a lot of time like staring at a prone T-Rex. But like, so like honestly, I would say like watching the day-to-day life of a sauropod would be very interesting, even if a lot of it is just eating. But just because like it like that's been a glimpse of something that like has always been a big question mark. So I think that would be neat.
Yeah, a sauropod was my second thought. In terms of like it'd be cool to just see what they do.
Amelia, you're up.
Something you could ride around.
Yeah, something you could ride would be the ideal in terms of like hanging out with. Because like I think it'd be cute to hang out with any number of small fuzzy dinosaurs, but like I can hang out with a small fuzzy creature in my house right now, and it is great. I like to do it, but it's not new.
Just get a dog.
Mint River asks, what if Spinosaurus was waddling? I think it was. At least a little bit.
I bet it was a ponderous fellow.
A ponderous fellow. Like how it is in Prehistoric Kingdom, where like it's very slow. I love how like it seems like the only way that you can tell the difference between like the walk and run animations on Spinosaurus in that game is it's dragging its tail. That's the walk animation. Run animation, it's like a foot off the ground.
Yeah, I don't want to, because I think we'll probably do a video about it, but I am very charmed with the Spinosaurus.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's the best modern depiction of the animal.
Yeah, it's just
Spoiler.
like we were like Dalton and I were just like shooting the shit a while ago, getting ready to record, and just pulled up, like we just opened up Prehistoric Kingdom and we're just playing around watching it, and I believe Dalton, you said that one of the skins in there is just like this is just how it looked. This is the canon Spinosaurus now. It's like this is how this animal appeared.
It's just like
or
the
should we save
yellow. It? Well, we'll save it. Yeah, let's save it.
Okay.
It's my turn. Ooh. What if Spinosaurus walked
for the
up to
love
a
of
lemon?
God.
Thank you for your 20th super chat, by the way, Draco Master.
Thank you, Draco Master.
You are really going a long way in the James Needs to Eat Food in the month of February fund.
He is destitute.
Thank you, yes. All right, I'm going to go publish a thing. Actually, is
That's
that what
what
I
we're
want to
all
do?
doing.
No, it's not. I'm going to the library, and I'm going to give it a purple, and I'm going to take
A purple.
blue.
Give a purple, take a purple. As a
Wait, are we
paleontologist.
actually supposed to answer this question about grapes, or is this just a cool
No.
joke?
No,
that's-
that's just
Alex,
the
are you
duck song.
unfamiliar with the duck song?
No, I am. I'm unfamiliar.
Oh, it's
Oh.
well, you'll have to look it up on your own.
Let's see. Kyo Disaster asked, as paleontologists, can you give your understanding on the madness that was the extinction debates during the lead up to the dinosaur renaissance? I've heard people mention that it got whack, and yes, it did. Watching pre-dinosaur renaissance, or I guess Alvarez extraterrestrial hypothesis for dinosaur extinction stuff is really interesting, and it's a little bit rare nowadays too. Well, it's rare nowadays because we know what happened, but like it's rare that it was even depicted a lot of the time. Like Fantasia's the best example that I can think of. We're like, what is
Yeah.
it, like a drought or something, or disease?
Yeah, and I mean some of the more
Drought, yeah.
some of the more insane ones I think get a little overhyped and overblown. Like, yeah, there were some silly suggestions.
Mammals eating
Yeah.
all of the eggs.
Yeah.
Volcano. That's volcanoes are is it
I mean, volcanoes were involved. We found that one out.
maybe, yes.
Maybe, possibly, yeah.
They were happy.
No, it's
They were happening.
the asteroid. Actually, I guess that's connection to the Oppenheimer chat because he was in the movie.
He was, yeah.
He was in the
Alvarez.
movie, and like, wow! In my research to do the little, the little like short and TikTok that we did on Alvarez, he was way more involved in that than
He and his son, right?
Yeah, it was. Well, it's Louis and Walter that did it together. It was Louis Alvarez was the father and Walter was the son. And Louis Alvarez was on the Manhattan Project actually and worked at Los Alamos and was actually the only scientist to observe. He observed the Trinity test from a flying B-29, and he was also, I wasn't able to confirm if it was the only, but he was at least one of the only of the
What is that sound?
It's Dalton playing around with the
with the bags.
Oh
the
my
bags.
God.
Sorry.
Could
But-
have been me readjusting on the bed as well.
Louis was also one of the only scientists to actually observe the dropping of one of the atomic bombs. And it is a little bit, I guess, kind of like darkly poetic that like his son, who I know I'm taking a long time with my turn here, but like his son who, I guess I'm just recalling this turn. So actually, no, I'm not. Yes, I am. His son, who would end up being a geologist, who took him on an expedition, and they were chatting about the whole, like, what happened to the dinosaurs thing, and like, hey, there's this big stark line and stuff, and I think it's kind of poetic that Louis looked at that and after seeing the devastation of the atomic bombs caused partially by his work,
It's like, I definitely know
possibly came up with the hypothesis right there of like, what if they all blew up, basically? What if there was a giant explosion?
Stolen valor, Scott. That was my idea first for the short.
Yeah.
Yeah, steal my valor.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna.
I didn't say I came up with it. I said it was a cool idea.
That's true. You did. You did. I wonder who came up with that idea.
Oh, weird. We'll never know.
Yeah. All right. I'm grad student publishing a thing.
That was like, James, the way that you put that. I do really need to. I have a copy of his book, T-Rex
know
in the
what
Crater
I'm
of Doom,
publishing
and I need to read through it to see if they actually do, if Walter actually does talk about the, like how the idea first came up.
Well, I
But
think the idea first came up, to my knowledge, through, because this is the way that I kind of phrased it when we were talking about the strategy to take for the short, and also I'm done with my turn. I think the idea, like, it came up through the recognition of the iridium spike in the KT boundary layers, right? Because we know that iridium is incredibly rare on the Earth's crust, and it's only like present in that kind of a quantity in asteroids. So that was like where the idea of the impactor came from, right? It was this has to have an extraterrestrial origin. What I remember kind of saying, and I think there's not really time to do this in a short, so I think that's partly why, it's probably why we didn't end the short with this. But I think it's interesting that so many people were so resistant to the idea, but Luis Alvarez was open to it, and I do wonder if that's because he had seen this kind of devastation, both in terms of the tests and one of the actual implementations of an atomic weapon, and like kind of had a perspective on apocalyptic power that nobody else really had. Like, one of the ideas, and I think this was one of the objections brought up against the asteroid impactor hypothesis, was just like there's no way it could do that.
Yeah.
Like, people, what the hell did you just publish, Scott?
he
What the hell?
No, this is he says
Ramphinodon.
Oh my god, another pterosaur.
It's not that bad.
It's that bad.
Ramphinion. I put a D in there.
What am I gonna do? What am I doing?
This is related. The Cali sticks in Warzone are pretty cool.
That is related. Those are indeed weapons of mass destruction and extinction there. And also, Logan Rocks did also point out, I cannot believe that the dinosaurs died due to the lack of sex legs.
That is what happened. We do know that.
Yeah.
The
asteroid did evaporate all the way.
Everybody's saying this.
Alaska. Well, James, do you have more to say on?
No. I do think I think that's an interesting connection that I've never heard anybody else vocalize, and I do wonder if it's why the Alvarezes were so open to the impact hypothesis. Because,
I need to read through that. But I wonder if they do mention it in the book.
I do too.
And also, Alaska 21225 asks, what pets do y'all have? I've seen the cats in the vids. And they used to have ducks, your own dino pets.
I've published Ornitholestes.
Like, James has 2 snakes.
I do. I have 2 snakes, and a population of large cockroaches that appear at will.
And they're 2 corn snakes specifically.
Yes.
Someone, I do want to just address the super chat beforehand, just because thank you, the Cretaceous Critter, who sent 5. What should we call the skeleton through Holy Scripture? I think it should be called the Torosaurus. Thoughts? I think that's a great pun.
It's a very funny pun.
If you're going to make anything, you should probably not ape an existing religious text.
But
I do appreciate
parrot if we keep it in the dinosaur theme.
And I have a cat. I have a kitty cat owl. I've got a gecko. I've got a day gecko. His name is Bucky. And then at home, we have 2 dogs.
I've got currently next to me are 2 fire-bellied toads that are about 11 years old, question mark. I don't know. I've had them a long time.
Wow.
I had one that passed over the summer that was 15, or at least I'd had him for 15 years. I have a leopard gecko. His name is Toby. He hides a lot, but he came out last night, which is fantastic.
He came out. Good for him.
He came out. He had some worms. It was a good time.
I was making a different joke.
I think you missed
that.
Oh. Whatever. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it
Good
like
for
that.
Toby.
Live his truth.
He might be. I don't know. Anyway.
In the chat, yay! He's gay.
We're proud of the Gek. It's a gecko.
Sure. He's whatever you want him.
You guys jumped on that so quickly. That was so great.
That was very funny.
He's
And then there's also a cat who has made several appearances. His name is Vito. He is currently up on his mountain. And then back home my parents have a dog named Charlotte, who's a monster. Has basically not grown out of the 1-year-old puppy phase, and she's like 4 now.
Oh.
She's something. And then we have Miles. Miles is a Maine Coon. He's big and fluffy, and he weighs
Scott,
23
I've bumped
pounds.
I've bumped you, field assistant. Take him back.
Nice job.
Take him out.
Take him out back.
Take him out back. I'm just discarding things.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll say that while I do not have any pets here right now, I'm considering getting. I'm very, very, very strongly considering getting a pair of sibling bonded kittens. Very much want to do that. Good Lord, I miss having pets because at home I have this little cutie. This is Griff. Well, at home, this is my home. At my parents' home, this is Griff. Scott should get a Komodo dragon. You have no idea how much I really, really wanted to get like an Argentine black and white tegu for like the longest time, and I know that they're like the whole reputation for them being puppy dog tame can be rough. But I do also I have a very timely, before we get back on pets, I do have a very, I guess, kind of chat relevant question for Dalton. Dalton.
Yes.
Was Helioscopos a gecko?
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yes. If Helioscopos became a gay icon, I don't know why it would, but that'd be great. I'd love that.
Also, Toasty, I know that tegus aren't monitors, but they give monitor vibe.
There's specifically a Tiid, so not a tegu proper. I now need to remember what its actual name is. The false monitor, Calopistes, is a Tiid that gives monitor more strongly. Obviously, it's named that way, but it has like just one of the most beautiful lizard skulls like I've ever seen. Like it's aesthetically like perfect. It's phenomenal. It's the closest aesthetically, like it's better. It's not as good as certain mosasaurs, but it's up there.
I was told that in the Skeleton Crew Discord server, there is a related funny to my insect war. And there is. I actually checked that a few minutes ago, and that's what made me remember the cockroaches. Which is the text message from Huge Insect, where the Huge Insect says, "Hey man, I'm going to be flying around inside your house tomorrow. Just thought you should know. I'm planning on moving very quickly and unpredictably."
I love that one.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Very funny.
And I love the email that's supposedly from a student to the professor. They can't leave their room because there's a giant bug flying and something, and it ends with, "The bug has every advantage in this situation, and I think it's aware of this." And I love that so much.
I'll also. Oh, go on.
Well, so the cockroaches stopped coming into my apartment when it got very cold. Yeah. I feel like it's a time of year thing where I see them mostly when it's in the like 40s to 50s. I guess they're active outside, but they're trying to find warmth would be my guess. I don't know much about bug behavior. But one appeared randomly in my house. And due to the generosity of my father, I now have one of those things that shoots a pellet of salt at the bug to kill it. And so I was, my girlfriend was visiting. And it was actually while I was cooking the steak dinner that I bragged about a lot in our Discord server. And I just saw out of the corner of my eye the bug on the wall. And so I left the steak on the grill, grabbed the bug cannon, walked over and shot it, crushed it with a paper towel, and then just calmly walked back and finished cooking the steak. And I felt very cool.
James, yeah. I really, really hope that, it doesn't sound like you did, but I would have, after shooting the bug with the salt shotgun, shoot the steak to season it. It's just salt.
That would have been funny.
That would have been rad as hell. All right, also I'm publishing.
Amelia also just published.
I published Scutalotosaurus.
Scutalotosaurus? That's a fun name.
It's not real,
Scutellus.
I know.
Oh, I was like, Scott, I hate to tell
I
you.
like Scutellus.
Scootalosaurus.
I figured you knew. You sounded a little too excited.
Yeah. I'm calling it that from now on. And I am publishing Arthritis Rinkus.
Arthropterygius. Arthropterygius, if you're being correct. Cool.
We're
Logan.
getting near the end.
Logan, yeah, we are. Oh my God. Are we at 31 right now? Hang
We're at
on, 1, 2,
31,
3.
yeah.
Well,
Ooh, goodness gracious.
then this is the end, folks.
This is the end, folks.
But before the end,
we're in the
let's
end
address
game now.
let's address Logan's super chat. Thank you very much. How do you feel about Jack Horner wanting to make Chickenosaurus? Just don't know if you've talked about it. I mean, I think it's kind of hard to sum up. Like, I don't think there really even is one institution working on Chickenosaurus. But the idea of expressing long lost phenotypes that are available for expression in a developing embryo is an incredible way to learn about evolution. I think it's a cool idea, and I don't think that even if you were to get all of those phenotypes expressed, it's not a prehistoric dinosaur.
You've made a weird bird.
And I don't think that there's going to ever be an ethics board that will approve letting those things hatch.
Yes.
Not in the United States.
Well, thankfully, that's where it's being done.
I'm done.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing, and it's something I wanted to say, is I've seen a lot of concerns online over the ethics of the situation, and I think that's completely valid.
Where did I go?
But I do think... Dalton, I'm sorry, I've stolen all of your players, so you can't...
Oh, no, he just blended into the magazine here.
But if this work goes forward, it will be reviewed by ethics boards. That's how all animal experimentation goes on. It is perfectly valid to have feelings about animal experimentation anyway, but it is reviewed by ethics boards to ensure that the animals are not suffering unduly. And I agree with Dalton. I don't think they'd ever let the animals hatch and grow.
No, I mean, I think, but examining those developing embryos and sacrificing them pre-hatching, which is what all embryology labs do, it's an interesting project with a lot of potential to learn a lot of cool things.
Yes, and I think it's worth pointing out that is what interesting work in that regard has happened at Yale, where Dalton and I are.
Yeah,
and it's not as widely. I think there's a lot of it kind of, to me. And I think Dalton's right in that the examinations of stuff like this are incredibly important and interesting. But a lot of it is kind of like are they going to clone a woolly mammoth? Which is, I hate to break this to you, but no, you're never going to see one. And a lot of this is just, a lot of it's hype and kind of a media headline. You're not going to see a Chickenosaurus.
Well, can I also piggyback off of that for half a second? Oh,
sure.
Dalton, did you have a thing to say?
No.
Oh, I want to piggyback off of that for half a second, in that I want to get on a very tiny soapbox for just a minute and just say that project, eons, or not eons, that project
Colossal,
that's trying to
right?
Colossal, it's trying to bring back the mammoth to fight global warming by remaking the mammoth step. Just say that you want to see a mammoth. That's the dumbest justification.
I don't know. They got a lot of funding for it, and the arguments they
got a lot of funding for it.
The arguments they make are not as stupid as they appear. I don't think I did something wrong with my calculation. Hold on. I don't think that it's going to work they say, but I don't think it's dumb. They're talking about a lot of correct stuff.
How do I count points? Cycling. Do I count?
Okay, so yeah, I'll go over the whole thing. Now, sorry, James, you would.
No, that's it.
Yeah, sorry.
That's it.
Yeah. No, so we have reached the end game. I have published Serposidon with a coprolite, and that was the last. That's the last one. So I can't get my little in-game calculator to work, so I'm going to use my phone. But essentially, what you're going to do to calculate your score, add up all of the little points that you see on the flags. So your Hesperosaurus is 8 points, then you get another 2 points for amber. Yep. Add up all of those plus the highest total of discs you've revealed, that is your total victory points. You subtract from your unplayed cards. And I need to remember how much you. I think it's just the victory point value of them.
I think so too.
Yes, you deduct. No, you deduct the research cube cost of any specimen card.
Oh,
Oh,
so just
really?
white ones.
Yeah, so you deduct the white cube cost of anything still in your hand, and then you also add up any victory points that you got from your personal objective that you've been pursuing.
Okay. I need to try and I've got an animal blocking my use of anything right now.
Beast.
also, I guess I'll just say this out loud while we're calculating it.
Thank you.
Dom for Wildlife Wire makes a good point. You could recreate a mammoth step without explicitly mammoths.
Yeah,
This is true. This is true. Although I'm perhaps more pro de-extinction tech being developed and all of this stuff than a lot of people.
I'm not saying I'm anti de-extinction tech. I'm saying that the climate change argument I find incredibly weak.
And I think that's fair. There is a company based out of California that I think is associated with UC Santa Cruz or UCLA or maybe both, that I think is taking a much different approach to it, where they're focusing mostly on very recently extinct animals. So I think passenger pigeons and other such things are on their docket. And I do prefer their approach.
yeah. I can't fault the idea of like if something is very demonstrably the result of our actions, that if we can remedy that,
Yeah.
it'd be pretty cool to be
No.
able to do that.
Now, Wildlife Wire, I do agree with you. We can use that tech to increase populations of elephants and rhinos we still have, but I do think there's a case to be made here that getting the requisite massive amounts of funding to develop the tech in the first place is probably best going to be done with a kind of lofty goal of de-extinction, rather than solely, rather than solely to preserve living species. I think it's something that's just so charismatic that it'll bring in a lot more money. And that does seem to be what's happening. I personally think we've achieved the goal if we develop the tech and then do implement it for conservation purposes.
I can understand the argument and I respect the argument, but I don't think we're ever going to see it.
I mean, that's also very fair.
Like huge tech, like a basically game changing bit of technology like that, and all I can refer to are all the cool tech things that are supposed to be happening, and the collection of morons and psychopaths that are in charge of them, and how nothing ever happens. Nothing cool ever happens. Only bad things happen, and like annoying things happen. So I don't think we're seeing a cool thing like a mammoth. I think we're seeing meat cubes that you torture to eat in the future when all the megafauna go extinct.
A note of hope to end the evening on.
Yeah, so anyway, guys, thanks for watching The Skeleton Crew.
Ooh, what did everybody get?
Remember to shave the meat cube. I did very poorly this game. I got 52.
Oh my god, Dalton, did I beat you by 1?
That's what I'm very concerned about, and I'm going to redo my math to find out.
And I'll redo mine as well.
Check your math.
But
What did you guys get?
I believe I got 92.
I think I got 93.
Oh, I got 72, which I think is better than I've done before.
That's very good.
I'm not last. That's all that matters.
I did get last, so that's what happened. Can I tell you guys what happened that completely boned me this game, or I'll wait for Dalton to check his math?
I got 92 points. Yep, 92.
Wow.
I'm double checking as well.
Dalton, those Dinosaur holotypes, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, 93. I beat you by
Oh my
1.
god, wow. Well, you,
Wow.
Scott, will receive hang on. What will you receive?
I thought it might have been hubris because last time we played, I went for small saurians as the goal as well, and I was absolutely boned.
You will receive the Dragon of Victory.
The dragon! Also, Dalton, you need to turn on objects. I have fun ones that I have saved.
I don't know how to do that for you.
Oh, I think it's like it's a setting or something like that. Because,
Yeah, I think it's in the
Anyway.
server settings.
So
But regardless,
so here's what
Scott has
boned
won.
me.
What boned you?
Congratulations, Scott.
Well done.
What boned me was I could not draw a sauropod card for the entire game.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
was that your personal?
My personal was 2 theropods, 2 sauropods, and 2 ganosaurs. So I was like, all right, 2 theropods easy, 2 ganosaurs easy. I was like, let me just look for some sauropods. And every time I drew more, I kept getting more Cretaceous theropods.
Oh, I'm sorry, King.
Well, in real life, if my field program did that, that would be great for me.
It'd be awesome.
That would be fantastic news. But
See,
yeah.
I also I want to say here, even though I am anti-cult, as Logan Rock said, I never said I was anti-Buckland, because what Buckland did was objectively hilarious. And
But do you approve of it? There's a difference. You don't have to be pro somebody and think it's hilarious.
oh no, I approve of Buckland did nothing wrong. Buckland probably did a lot wrong. Don't take me out of context with that. He was a scientist at that time. He probably was a relatively bad dude.
But in terms of eating that guy's...
I mean, okay, let me put it this way. Anybody who would, like, before you could even process what happens, eat human flesh, I think has some inherent bad dude energy to him.
I don't know, even if it's the heart of a French king.
See, I think we have to just give him that.
Right.
That's kind of, to return to a core theme of the crew, that's kind of girl boss.
Yeah. And he didn't really gatekeep, as far as I know.
I have no assessment over William Buckland's gatekeeping or not gatekeeping.
I don't know. Listen, we've been streaming for a long time. I'm tired. That's kind of just, that's where my brain's going. So I guess that's the end of the Holotype game, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think it's a good time to end the stream.
Yeah,
probably.
So we're going to wrap up the stream. I want to, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank everybody for all of their questions, keeping the chat going. We just got a donation from Cretaceous Critter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And also, Cretaceous Critter, I hope you saw my response to your messages. I really apologize for missing it for so long, but I just want to make sure that you saw that I did write back, and I would love to consider the stuff you were talking about further, if that's still relevant. Thank you so much, and I do apologize for missing those.
Also, Cretaceous Critter, we will.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah.
Very important other note. Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss Geo Sternbergia.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Draco.
Geo Sternbergia did all of those things.
Yes.
Yeah. Jay, thank you so much. So for those who were confused, I did see a couple comments about this. We do have a Discord server. It is tied to our Patreon. So any tier on our Patreon, including the lowest tier, gets you access to the Discord server. So if you're interested and if you can, please consider joining us there. It's become a wonderful community. But I want to thank all of you guys for your support of the Skeleton Crew, for watching our stream, for keeping the comment section very lively, and especially for your super chats. Every little bit of contribution helps us out so much, and goes directly to support all of our work and everything we do. And we can't thank you enough for it. So thank you guys so much. That's all I have to say. Does anybody else want to add anything before we wrap up?
Thanks, everyone, for giving us money.
Thank you.
And for
thank you
coming
all
to the stream.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming to celebrate Helioscopos. It means a lot. It's a cool critter, and I'm glad we got to share it and play
I'm
some
glad it made an
Holotype.
appearance in the game.
It's a fun game.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God, Draco
Wow,
Master.
Draco Master. That's
Jeez, my guy.
Draco Master, are you an HVAC by any chance?
my goodness.
You don't realize what you've done, Draco Master, but now James will get to eat something besides the sludge for the first time in weeks.
Yeah, Logan, thank you guys so much. Oh my God, you guys are really incredibly generous.
He won't have to
You all
eat.
mean so much to us, truly.
Holy shit, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Wow, you guys
Also-
are fantastic.
But mostly to James, who doesn't have to eat the cockroach jerky.
I don't have to eat the cockroach jerky. I was at lunch with some coworkers last week, and I was like, we were all talking about like, stuff's tough after the holidays, and I was just like, do you want to know how tough things are now? The other night I baked an onion. That was dinner. I put an onion in the oven at 400 degrees for 40 minutes, and then I ate it.
Oh,
It was funny. I want to be clear to everybody. I have eaten things other than that. I made a beautiful steak dinner the other night as well. But yes.
Adam Molos asked, I think what can probably be taken as one last question, which is, wait, what about limnoscancer? Good question. I didn't bring up limnoscancer in this. Not really celebrating limnoscancer so much because we named that genus, but that was an existing species. It's not a new species. We erected that genus more out of taxonomic, I don't want to say bookkeeping because that kind of trivializes it. Taxonomic future-proofing, I will say. We took what was formerly Artiosaurus digitatalis and erected a new genus, Limnoscancer digitatalis, because, and we're not the first people to find this, but our analyses found it to be the most unstable of the bunch. And including it in the genus Artiosaurus, in our analyses, made Artiosaurus not monophyletic, and also it is the most unstable. So it's a new genus, and we're excited about Limnoscancer. I like that name a lot. But that one we erected more to say, like, hey, this thing is different, and we're doing this to preserve the monophyly of everything. And now in the future, when people work on it, there's less chance for confusion.
Which is a very base thing to do.
Indeed.
Oh, that's cool. Helioscopos, Yorgi, and Limnoscancer are listed consecutively on the 2023 in Paleo page. That's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
Oh, that's
Skeletons
really
Cruise Suite.
cool.
It was like
Ah,
Yeah.
Cruise
got
Suite,
Cruise.
Cruise Suite.
All right. Anyway, guys, I think we should probably wrap up the stream.
Absolutely.
We are trying to stream more in 2023. I don't think that's going to be a regular schedule because our schedules are chaotic, but
Anything but regular.
yeah, but we're going to try to do it a little bit more, and we hope to see all of you guys there.
Speaking of unstable groups.
Yeah.
Heyo.
Hey, our monophyly is in question.
We're all doing very well. right
2023, they say.
now. Up here.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, that's how well I'm doing. 2024. That's the year that we're currently in, and that's the year where we're going to stream more. So thank you guys for coming.
Indeed.
And we're going to
Thank
wrap
you
it
very
up
much.
now. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Stream's over.
I'm going to end this game.
Oh.